Good morning, 5 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Mostly cloudy today. We'll have a chance of a thunderstorm, perhaps just some showers. Our high today will be 87 degrees. NES says it'll begin burying power lines in some new neighborhoods this summer. It's part of a pilot program after those devastating winter storms that we experienced in January. WSMV4's Braden Ross.
The conversation about power lines in Nashville has gone underground.
It's been a conversation for quite some time that burying utilities makes the most sense.
And now Metro Council member Joy Stiles wants to make it a requirement for all new streets in the city.
You hate when you have to make someone do something when you know it's the right thing to do. But we really don't have a choice. The fallout from this storm has been so significant.
As Nashville continues to grow, Stiles says this is an opportunity for these new developments to get it right.
Now, burying power lines in existing neighborhoods is a much tougher undertaking. Metro Council is not considering that just yet. A new spark of violence in the Middle East. A cargo ship sailing through the Strait of Hormuz has been hit by an Iranian drone attack. It struck a ship that was traveling through the southernmost part of the strait near the coast of Oman. Iranian officials consider ships going through Omani waters to be unauthorized. The bridge of that ship was damaged by the drone.
What we saw was Iran making warnings throughout the day, essentially saying that they were only going to allow passage through the Strait of Hormuz if it went through authorized lanes. Well, the authorized lane that they're talking about are essentially the waters off of Iran. And they don't like that the UN agency that was responsible for maritime shipping, that they were advocating for a southern route off the coast of Oman.
That's ABC's Luis Martinez. President Trump, speaking last night, said the Strait of Hormuz is open. The flight from far-left policies is on, and Morgan Stanley is the latest example. Dallas lawmakers just unanimously approved an $18 million incentive package aimed at persuading the financial giant to pick up and move its headquarters there. And it looks like a done deal, too. Morgan Stanley's already proposed a $1.3 billion skyscraper, and the Dallas incentives may just be what it needed to choose Dallas over rival bidder Alpharetta, Georgia. Now, that move comes just days after a string of victories by far-left Democrats in New York. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. It was a pretty rough day on Wall Street yesterday, with stocks gyrating all throughout the day. They ended, however, with the Dow Jones Industrials up 71 points, the NASDAQ losing 118, and the S&P 500 index down just a fraction. Pre-market trading this morning, everything looks in the red, but the Dow futures are down just 16. NASDAQ futures are down 314 points. We've got S&P futures falling 31. And let's check on oil here this morning as well. Brent crude oil down almost 4% at $72 a barrel. And the West Texas intermediary crude is also down this morning, just about the same, 3.75%. It's down at $69 a barrel. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. We do have an accident to start us off this morning. It's on I-440, the eastbound lanes in Woodbine, just before Nolensville Pike. It's over to the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends, and hope you are doing well. And welcome on in to a Friday, June 26th. Hope you're doing great so far this morning. Is Tucker Carlson the most dangerous demagogue in America?
And you thought it was Candace Owens.
According to Ted Cruz, it is Tucker Carlson. Listen, I'm a big fan of Ted Cruz. Tucker Carlson, not so much, but I think Ted Cruz, absolutely wrong here. So this is the headline from the Daily Mail. Couldn't find audio. Sam, maybe you can. But this is the headline. Tucker Carlson had an expletive-filled kiss-off to Donald Trump as Tucker continues to burn bridges within the White House over the Iran war. The former Fox News anchor has been one of the most public critics from the right of Donald Trump's foreign policy, coming to a head with the strikes on Tehran. Tucker Carlson appearing on the Jack Neal podcast, accusing Donald Trump of feigning strength by using empty threats against Iran as the war continued on. Now, I'm going to tell you, as somebody who is a fan of Donald Trump, I'm a supporter of Donald Trump, that is a fair criticism. How many times has Donald Trump said all of these threats, all of these things on social media, only to let diplomacy take the center stage? But I believe that sometimes there's a method to Donald Trump's madness, whatever. He desperately wants to get out of Iran. He uses these threats as a way to get Iran back to the table. But that is not an unfair criticism that is being leveled against Donald Trump by Tucker Carlson. In other words, I see what Tucker is saying. Tucker says that Donald Trump tried to posture his way out of it. Carlson said of the president after the initial killing of the Ayatollah Khomeini did not force Iran's surrender. Tucker goes on to say on this podcast, Jack Neal, and after like the 400th Truth Social, they reached the same conclusion that everyone else on the globe reached, which is this guy is not strong. He is weak, Tucker Carlson says. I think Tucker is wrong. Do you know what's interesting? One of the things that I find fascinating is that you have all of these people across America who, on the one hand, said that Donald Trump is going to be a warmonger and is a warmonger. Trump lets diplomacy take the center stage or the front seat, and now he's weak. So Trump can't win for losing here. But again, I don't believe that it's necessarily an unfair criticism. I get what Tucker is saying. He says strong people don't brag about how strong they are. They just punch you in the face and end the conversation. That is true, by the way. The problem is that the president, and I've said this, for a long time now, the president has had too many Truth Social posts and too many proclamations that the war is over, and then Iran comes back and says, nope. This morning is a perfect example where they have attacked a vessel out of, I think it was Singapore. We'll get into that. But I do believe that that has damaged the credibility of Donald Trump with a lot of people, including, by the way, I would say foreign powers. Then you have Tucker Carlson comparing Donald Trump to a boxer who was all talk and taunting, but you don't have to worry about when they make the threats before sending Donald Trump a blunt message. You ready? He says, shut up, B, rhymes with which. I don't take you seriously. I'm not being mean, but like, come on, Carlson said of Donald Trump. Now, this comment from Tucker Carlson doesn't surprise me. And yeah, I do believe that Donald Trump is going to be okay. I think Donald Trump can mark himself safe from giving a crap about what Tucker Carlson thinks. But Donald Trump opened himself up to the criticism when he didn't see what was happening. And that is, I believe that Iran has been playing him. And I believe that Iran, they're not negotiating in good faith. They're simply not. Tucker also says, I grieve for what his decisions in the Middle East have done to the country. Now, I'm assuming he means America. But the war in Iran has had negative impacts on our country, yes. Higher gas prices. We've lost 13 members of our military. We have spent a lot of money on military. We need even more to continue this fight. And yes, it has ripped the Republican Party apart. But at the end of the day, this could be a good thing. Or it could be a train wreck. I think the first day that we started this whole thing, I said, this could be the greatest thing that Donald Trump has ever done, or it could be the worst thing that Donald Trump has ever done. We don't know yet, friends. We don't know yet if this is going to be the worst or the best thing that Donald Trump has ever done. It's like every day there's a new way to analyze this thing. Every day you wake up, I wake up, we all wake up, and we look at the news, we look at the headlines. And Iran has agreed to this, only then for them to come back and say, no, we don't agree to this. It looks like Iran is going to behave, then they don't behave. But I don't know if we're going to know if this whole campaign has been a success or a failure for years, long after Donald Trump is out of office and perhaps long after Donald Trump has gone to heaven. We just don't know. Because oftentimes, and y'all know this, oftentimes we don't know the success or failure of a presidency until decades after that president has left office. And this is going to be the same thing. The ultimate question will be, what will Iran do? Will they get themselves some nuclear weapons and fund terrorism? Or will they meet their full potential? That's what this is all about. Now, sadly, I believe that Iran is going to continue to fund terrorism. I do believe that they will continue to try to get their hands on nuclear weapons. That is their default, and it is going to be incredibly difficult for Iran to change their default. So then Tucker Carlson, though. Tucker Carlson says these things, and then Ted Cruz puts Tucker on full blast, calling him the most dangerous demagogue in America. We are going to talk about that coming up next. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
We do have that accident continuing this morning to cause some delays. It's on 440 eastbound in the Woodbine area. It's a crash in the right lane. Major roadways look good so far. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. As far as your forecast for today, mostly cloudy, a chance of a stray thunderstorm, and a high of 87. Joan, I don't know if you have the Saturday and Sunday forecast in front of you, but everybody, of course, wants to know. No, it's okay. It's okay. Joan falling down on her duties this morning, not right? Sending me the Saturday, Sunday forecast. Anyway, what is it?
So on Saturday and pretty much on Sunday, too, it's the same thing. Mixed clouds with a chance of a stray shower or thunderstorm. So the high Saturday, 87 degrees, much like today. But on Sunday, it's 94. So, man, is it going to get hot.
Yeah, next week is going to be brutal.
As in really hot?
As in like in the 95 to 97 degree range the entire week.
Wow.
And what about a feels like, which apparently is a leftist talking point regarding global warming? So, I still don't understand that, by the way, but whatever.
Feels like would be like when you saw the mushroom cloud hit Hiroshima and, you know, that blast of just...
Okay. All right.
It'd be like 102 to 107, maybe more.
All right. So very hot next week. All right. Very good. Thank you, folks. So Ted Cruz putting Tucker Carlson on full blast, calling him the most dangerous demagogue in America. I've got some audio here, if I could, only audio. And this is Ted Cruz, what he has to say, how he sets it up.
Look, the left, a decade ago, anti-Semitism began to rise, and the Democrat leaders basically looked the other way and just hoped it would go away. And it didn't. It's consumed their party. There is a very real pro-Hamas contingent of the Democrat Party.
Fact check, true. So that's how he sets it up. It is true. You have anti-Semitism on the left. The communism, the socialism, the racism against white people, all the isms, right? But then he says this. Ted Cruz on Tucker.
Here's the scary thing. I've seen more anti-Semitism on the right in the last 18 months than any time in my life. And it is spreading like a cancer. Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America.
You are so full of crap, Ted Cruz. I'm sorry, and I am such a Ted Cruz fan. I wanted Ted Cruz on the Supreme Court. He is wrong here. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm not above some mudslinging myself and some rhetoric myself, but, you know, to say that Tucker is the most dangerous demagogue in America is insane. Personally, I believe you could make the case for Nick Fuentes. Now, maybe what Cruz means, if we're talking about people, by the way, on the right, and I'm gonna put that in air quotes, on the right, because you got Hassan Piker. I'm going to go with Mamdani as well. But if you're talking about people on the right, maybe what Cruz means is that Tucker is maybe reaching those that Fuentes can't, because Cruz has more credibility, in my opinion, than a Nick Fuentes. And so maybe Tucker is reaching people that would be more middle-aged and older Americans. But to say that Tucker is the most dangerous is silly. I don't even think he's the most dangerous on the right. I mean, I might even argue with his characterization that Tucker is a demagogue. I looked it up. You folks actually know what the definition of a demagogue is? This is what the definition is. And maybe there's other definitions. A political leader who seeks support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of ordinary people rather than by using rational argument. So I don't even know if Tucker's a demagogue in that description, because Tucker is relatively speaking very concise about his problems with the war against Iran. He has been. I don't agree with all of them, but I think that Tucker has some substance to his arguments. And so remember what Ted Cruz said. Remember what Cruz said about the word demagogue and Tucker Carlson. He didn't talk about Tucker being the most dangerous on the right. He said the most dangerous demagogue in America.
Here's the scary thing. I've seen more anti-Semitism on the right in the last 18 months than any time in my life. And it is spreading like a cancer. Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America.
He said in America, right? So I don't know if Tucker is anti-Semitic. We just have a lot of political difference of opinion. I have to warn, I think we have to be careful. Because remember, it's the left who plays those games, right? If you want secure borders, you are racist, right? If you want laws followed in America, if you don't want rampant crime in the streets, the left will call you racist. If you don't want to defund the police, the left will call you racist. There is a certain contingent on the right that will say that if you are against the war in Iran, then obviously you are anti-Semitic. We've got to stop that kind of language. You might have a philosophical problem with the war in Iran and still have support for the Israeli people. You might have some problems with Benjamin Netanyahu. You might have some problems with the way that he's conducting himself either in Gaza or in Lebanon. but that doesn't mean that you're anti-Semitic. It's a nuanced conversation. And in a world where everything is black and white, we on the right have to be careful of that kind of rhetoric. You can have some serious concerns with what is going on in Iran and not be anti-Semitic. But that, in my opinion, is what Ted Cruz has actually done, and he is wrong. And Tucker's opinion, by the way, is one that a lot of people share. That we got into this war and we are now mired in this war for the sake of Israel. That's, again, not something that I believe, that Israel is leading us by the nose. I don't agree with that, but I will admit to being frustrated at times with how this whole thing has been going. So I think that a number of things can be true. Yes, you can have concerns about the direction of America and still love America, still appreciate the tenets of conservatism, and still recognize the dangers of the Democrats and not only their rampant anti-Semitism, but also their rampant anti-Americanism. And so part of this dynamic is this one issue. It's a massive issue about the war with Iran. For Tucker and anyone to say, well, I'm going to stay home in the midterms, I'm going to stay home in 2028. Well, those people are missing the plot entirely. You know, you can be angry over this issue, over the failure to, the war in Iran, right? It wasn't over in a day or two or a week or a month. I don't know how long this is going to go. I don't know how it's going to end. I don't know what it's going to look like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 years from now. I don't know. But over the failure of the Iran war, if that's what ultimately it is deemed, it'll depend on how the whole thing plays out. Over the failure to pass the Save America Act. But here's the thing, is that if you're somebody who's going to stay home because of this or because of the failure to pass the Save America Act, you do that. I don't want to hear all the complaints when the Democrats pack the Supreme Court, delegitimize our elections, and set up a system where they have power forever. I don't want to hear people complain. But back to the main point, which is, who is the most dangerous demagogue in America? I'm going to say it's Mamdani. Mamdani actually has now placed not one, not two, but 3 people who are socialists or communists on the House of Representatives, in the House of Representatives. And they've done it on not only a anti-Israel platform, but an anti-America platform. So for Cruz to say that it's Tucker Carlson, that is the most dangerous demagogue in America, dude is slinging mud and he is absolutely wrong, absolutely baseless. And I like Ted Cruz, and I don't like Tucker Carlson. And I don't necessarily like being put into a position where I have to defend somebody that I don't like, but I mean, I think Tucker is wrong in his beliefs, but I believe that his beliefs are valid. It's a fine argument to have. It's a fine debate that we can have, but we can't sit here, people on our side, if you're conservative, people on our side cannot just decide, okay, if you have concerns with the Iran war, then you're obviously anti-Semitic. That's what the other side does. Well, you want secure borders, you're obviously racist. You want our laws followed and you want to fund the police, you're obviously racist. We can't stoop to that, folks. We just can't. We have to have a legitimate, fair discussion on our side when it comes to the Iran war. And I still believe it is way too early to deem how this whole thing is going to go. Should we have concerns? Absolutely. Ultimately, it depends on how Iran behaves in the long term with those lifted sanctions, and unfrozen assets. It is 525, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news coming up at 5:30. Joan.
Yeah, Dan, NES is getting started on burying power lines this summer, and now one council member wants to make that program mandatory. That's coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. It's now 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. NES is getting started on burying power lines this summer, and it's going to be another hot one today. A lot of us will crank up the AC at home. Well, that put a lot of pressure on the power grid, and now NES has come up with a way to ease some of the pressure, and the help is coming from Chattanooga.
NES is partnering with 7 states Power to add large standalone grid batteries. They store energy to help provide some backup when the power grid is stressed. The $400 million project is expected to start next year and should be finished by December of 2028.
That's Channel 4's Marius Payton. Hundreds of people are dead, thousands more hurt after a couple of earthquakes that hit Venezuela pretty hard this week, too. Those strong quakes, measuring magnitude 7.2 and 7.5, came in quick succession, hitting within a minute of each other.
One survivor described it as a horror movie. A section of the Caracas airport that collapsed into a cloud of dust. We saw travelers scrambling to escape. Parts of the terminal were left looking like a war zone. Of course, that airport is now closed.
That's ABC's Victor Akendo reporting. In the trial of the man accused of starting the Palisades fire in California, jurors considering the case against Jonathan Rinkernecht first told the judge that they reached a unanimous verdict. And then 30 minutes later, they sent another note to the judge saying that they were hopelessly deadlocked.
The day ended here with this jury sending a note to the judge reading, "There is nothing the court can do to help deliberations. Unfortunately, we cannot come to unanimous verdict." Nonetheless, that judge then dismissed him for the day and told them to come back here at 9 o'clock.
ABC's Kevin Ozebek there. Rinkernecht is facing 3 federal charges. That fire, by the way, killed 12 people, destroyed more than 6,800 homes and businesses. That's the latest news. Stick around for traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Pretty quiet start to our Friday morning, with the exception of one area. It's I-440 eastbound in Woodbine. There's a crash on the right shoulder just before Nolensville Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Welcome on into a Friday. And Joan and I are FaceTiming. And I've got to recount.
You're gonna bust me.
I've got to recount the last 3 minutes of conversation between myself and Joan Jones. Sam, you're going to love this. So, Joan says to me, "Hey, Dan, are you going to have Andy Ogles on today?" Now, I said in a very deadpan way, "No, Joan, that was yesterday that I had Andy Ogles on."
That would be a very condescending way.
Absolutely. I said, Nashville's Morning News, 5 to 9. You might want to listen every once in a while.
I told him I'd check it out.
She got a little snarky. So I don't know what's going on in the mind of Joan, but and she said, "Oh, I've been so behind yesterday. I just didn't have time." Right? Because that's what Joan, by the way, the best thing about what I just did, Joan, I have now assigned you the voice that I at times use for my wife at home.
Yes. Well, work wife, home wife.
That's exactly
Mickey
right.
Mouse?
What's that?
Sure, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
What it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. The funny thing is that voice is still deeper than mine. Anyway, moving right along. So then I told her I talked to Andy Ogles yesterday. Great interview. You can find it on the podcast. Then I said the following: "Joan, your hair looks awfully full this morning. You must have taken a shower because she is at home today." "Oh, it's too bad. People can't see you at..."
That's right.
Oh, too bad. Well, anyway, and Joan said to me,
Yeah, Dan, the reason that my hair looks so full this morning is because I got my hair cut, and it was cut yesterday, and you didn't notice.
Yeah,
Dan.
I had the audacity to not notice that Joan got a haircut yesterday. And clearly it's been bugging her for 24 hours that I did not notice, because you actually said, Joan, I was going to see if you noticed it yesterday, and you didn't.
No, you didn't.
You
in the
son of a
5
beep.
minutes that we spend together
I know.
before the show.
Anyway, your hair looks great today, Joan.
Thanks, Dan. So does yours.
Give me a break.
All right, moving right along. All right, so this is where we do Joan's World, where she sends me some topics, and Sam, I, and Joan, I have not seen these topics, and especially this morning, I have not seen these topics. I had a cell phone malfunction. I don't know what in the world happened this morning, Joan.
I know. This is weird.
My phone didn't charge last night, so I woke up. I kid you not, friends. I woke up at 3:45 this morning. Now, for those of you we all oversleep, so people can relate to this. So I usually get up at midnight to do my show prep and so forth, and I woke up at 3:45. I get up out of my chair to shower at 3:30. So I don't know what in the world happened, but my phone did not charge, and it was deader than a doornail when I woke up this morning, and I thought, so is my show going to be deader than a doornail. So anyway.
Do you use your alarm that's on your phone to get up?
Yeah, I set 3 alarms. Not 1, not 2, but 3 alarms.
It may have been aliens.
Maybe it was
Little green
aliens.
men had
I don't know.
something to
They
do
are
with your
gray,
phone.
Joan, for the 10th time. They are little gray men.
Sorry.
Now-
I like green.
Now, luckily, I do a lot of reading and I do a lot of stuff even off, so I'm okay. But it's so weird. It is just whatever. Anyway, but we all oversleep. It all happens. I'm now, as I was driving in, Joan, thinking about actually buying an actual alarm clock.
The one that you put like across the room so you have to get up and to knock it off.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I know that it's happened. Obviously, it's happened to everyone. But I came this close, Sam, from deciding to broadcast from home.
Sam would have loved that.
Yeah, I know,
of us there.
But I so enjoy Sam's company in the morning. All right, Joan, let's do these topics very quickly. So, which one do you want to do first?
You know what? I want to start with the cockpit video from, remember Freedom 250, and there was that flyover. There were a couple of flyovers, actually. And there is one of the pilots, I guess the guy who sort of calls the shots. His name is Taylor Heister. And he actually recorded himself during the flyover, and he, said, "Thank you, America, for all that you are and all that you will be. Thank you for trusting me. God bless America, and long live the Republic." Check this. I mean, this is in part video, but it's also, he's got a lot of audio with it.
You know what?
He's
Joan, I hate to do this.
Yeah.
So your video, you're going to have to describe it because you sent me a Daily Mail link. I've noticed this. Is that for whatever reason, suddenly the Daily Mail that I like, if you link a story, it goes to their front page, and it no longer goes to the story that you were trying to.
Okay, so
link.
I have a solution for that. I have the video here, and I can just play the audio from it.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Here we go.
Let's turn right now. Maintain close. I'll call roll out. Tower is no factor under the nose.
Love this. The sounds.
A little bit harder of a turn to center the Capitol.
The music. It's beautiful.
Descend it back down for 1100 Capitol Center.
Now you can see the other planes flying around him too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's.
We're on the money.
And they're about to come into Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And they sort of dip their wings when they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Burners ready now.
Here they go. They're going to dip their wings. They just flew over the Potomac.
Stand by, break. Ready. Break.
Nice job, Falcon 5-0.
Thanks a lot. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Catch you guys later.
Wow.
Isn't that just like, that music is so dramatic. It just makes me want to cry. So then he was on Fox News with Martha McCallum, and he spoke to her about that moment and about, having that video on the internet.
Well, I want to draw attention to all the people that are involved in making this flyover possible, not just Air Force personnel, but also civilians. From the time that Joe and I took off at Martin State, we held for about 20 minutes somewhere outside of the city, and we got to be very close to the B-2s that were in just 1,000 feet above us, and we got to wave hi to them as we were waiting for our position to go fly in. And a lot of coordination leads up to that 4-second moment when the airplanes are overhead, and we hope that everybody, when we went by, felt inspired as we were inspired as well. I don't think there was a dry eye on either of those F-16 cockpits when we flew away. And I said on the radio to everybody listening, long live the Republic and God bless America. Thank you very much. And it was a very special opportunity for Joe and I. Well,
Isn't that so cool?
That is awesome.
Love
and yet there's people on the left that want to see the military defunded. Yeah. And you've also got people. There's some people, even among our staff, that would say that, like, for example, Top Gun and Maverick were nothing but, what was it? Trying to promote the military. You know what I'm talking about? Remember when Chris Hand said that?
Propaganda.
Propaganda, thank you. That's the word, propaganda. He refuses to. There's a couple of reasons why Chris said that he would refuse to see Top Gun and Maverick. I think number one is because they said that they changed the patch on the jacket for China. I forget exactly what that whole thing was, and then he also said it was propaganda for the military. I don't really understand. Whatever, I don't care. I love Chris.
Well,
Agree to
but you
disagree.
bring up the point about people on the left, and they're platforming a Senate candidate in Maine that wished a Purple Heart recipient had died.
Yeah, among many other things.
Yeah.
So Graham Plattner. I mean, it's insanity.
Someone trolled him outside. He was walking through a park with a bunch of porta potties with people, and someone walked up. Hey, Graham. Does make you think of anything?
Keep it in your pants, Graham. Moving right along. Hey, so let's do liberal women. Let's do that one next, Joan.
Okay. So here's their new, their outlet for getting their anger released. These liberal women are now gathering under waterfalls and they stand on the rocks and scream to release their anger. Here's how it sounds.
You know, look, I don't know what they're angry about, but looking at some of these women, I can understand why they're angry.
There's this whole thing. This is, I guess, the newest one, being under a waterfall. But there's this whole belief by these, yoga doing, matcha drinking,
crunchy.
Yeah, but also not. Like, they worship Big Pharma and all the antidepressants and medicines they can take. They believe that screaming at the top of their lungs releases their inner angry woman, and just the spirit of that can crush the patriarchy.
I was going to say, I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
If I'm the husband of one of these, hold on. If I'm the husband of one of these women, I would be like, can you go scream under a waterfall?
No.
Take out the trash.
If you're
go scream under a waterfall.
If you're the husband of one of these women, you have a whip and a dog collar with your name on it. You don't get to do or say anything.
I think that's a whole different realm, Sam.
No.
You know what, Sam? I have no idea what to even say to that.
Yeah.
So I think we should probably just move on.
They would not let a man have power in their home, is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know what a whip and especially a dog collar has to do with all of that, but whatever.
It's to keep your
manhood in check, your manliness in check, your dominance in check.
I guess, your toxic masculinity.
Does it have a shock feature to the collar?
Now you're asking personal questions.
It'd probably...
We know much more about Sam than we want to.
I think, in some households, just to go with Sam's theory, the wife perhaps also has one of those electronic fences so that you can't flee the premises. Put it, whatever.
Or it's one she walks you right up to for the intentional shocking.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, and here's my other question would be, though. Can I just ask this? What are they so mad about?
The patriarchy.
But
and not being able to have abortions
please be more specific. More men in America are committing suicide than women. What is the problem? Why are they screaming under a waterfall?
Because the Haitians are being sent back, Dan.
Because
the Supreme Court sided with Donald Trump on immigration yesterday.
I'm going to take a Chris Hand page here and say this is also partially...
You must stop them from screaming.
A demonic...
You must stop them.
Sorry,
Thank you. Oh,
partially a demonic ritual as well. It could be.
Oh, yeah.
A demonic ritual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Satan is a man.
Yeah.
At least according to women.
And he tricks, but he's the great deceiver, so,
Fallen angel.
I think there's a lot of men that would say that Satan is women. Or their ex-wife. Anyway, whatever. So, what?
Not you, though. Like, you
No. That was not
right.
No.
Oh, no.
Had it with lawyers. Anyway, moving right along.
Go to that last one. Go to the last one. Because yesterday, like we just mentioned here, the Supreme Court issued decisions yesterday. They were two big wins for Donald Trump and his immigration policies. What they didn't talk about was the decisions that they didn't release, of course, was birthright citizenship, and also the one regarding boys and girls bathrooms. So there was a video out yesterday from this young girl in Wisconsin who says this has got to be decided in women's favor.
Okay. Problem is, what you've sent me is dogs for Trump because they feel safe now. Is that...
Oh, come on. That's not the one I wanted. That was not the one I wanted.
See, this is what happens when Mandis oversleeps.
Yeah. So
is it everybody else falls
end.
apart around me, but I've been nails today, just so we're clear.
Yeah. I'm going to play it on this end. How's that?
Joan's like, shut up, Mandis.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
My name's Ella Fry. I'm 17. I do long jump, I play volleyball, and I go to school in Richmond, Wisconsin. When my school let a biological male into the girls' restroom without telling the parents, I went to the school board with my name attached in my own town. I got bullied for it, harassed online, and some of the teachers even encouraged the harassment in the students. I'm still here because here's what I know. The net in women's volleyball is set nearly a foot lower with a reason. A biological male could hit a volleyball across that net with force that could seriously injure a girl. In track, all it takes is 3 biological males entering the women's category, and not a single girl will stand on the podium. I didn't speak up because it was easy. spoke up because somebody had to. The Supreme Court is about to answer the question that every girl in America is asking. And we're ready. My name's Ella.
So there you go.
You know what?
This girl is absolutely beautiful. Blonde hair, blue eyes, just a stunning, gorgeous girl. And so firm as she's delivering this message, very firm in what she knows to be true, that she and other girls could be seriously harmed by these guys in their sports. It's insane.
Peyton McNabb, 2022, Hiwassee Dam High School, suffered a traumatic brain injury and concussion after being struck in the face by a ball spiked by a transgender opponent. The injury left her with partial paralysis on her right side and ongoing cognitive and vision issues.
Have you seen that video?
Yes.
There are horrifying videos. We don't need to show you the videos, friends, because you've seen the videos and we've all talked about the videos. I've shown the videos and played the audio before. It is absolutely horrifying. And I think this is clearly, obviously common sense. And the sad part is that you have people in this country like this woman who are simply speaking the truth and common rational sense, and they are being bullied and they are being attacked, and the left is trying to cancel people like this. And I think it's one of the reasons why America is on the wrong track, and it's not because of Donald Trump, it's because of this kind of thinking. By the way, real quick, going back to the screaming women, and I just went on to the super text line, and people are begging me to stop playing it. Totally understand. People saying, "Yeah, these women don't have husbands."
Yeah, that's probably true.
Okay, so here's a question: do you believe these women would have husbands? Yes or no?
Oh, no.
Is it a Dan poll?
No, I don't think it's a Daily Dan poll, because I don't think we can put a video to the Daily Dan poll. But I think it's pretty clear that if these women at one time did have husbands, they have fled. They have fled.
Well,
I think that's what it is.
And when they did, they were probably in some weird polyamorous relationship dealio.
Why would you say that? I don't think so.
Because normal people don't sit under waterfalls and scream, Dan.
I'm sitting here thinking, would there be more than one man that would sleep with somebody like this? Well, I guess with men, they're not entirely discriminating, so whatever.
You were making 4859's ears bleed, by the way.
I'm sorry, 4859. That is my bad. Let's see. Oh, this is funny, though. This is good. The women screaming sounds like the WTN listeners when Dan plays an effect for the 100th time, 1,000th time, actually.
Pretty
meta. Look, friends, I am so trying to get better. You know, we're all a work in progress. My work in progress I'm like 58. I'm still a work in progress. Joan, do you think I'll ever be done as a work in progress? Do you think? No?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
My last day on the air, whether I know it's my last day or not, because you never quite know, just ask the people at iHeart when your last day is going to be. I'll still be a work in progress. I'm like that as a human being, and I'm certainly like that as a talk show host as well. It is 5:55. She's not a work in progress. She is already perfect. She is Joan Jones. And Joan Andy Ogles was yesterday, but what is coming up in the news at 6?
Thanks for the reminder. A former Nashville teacher is behind bars. We'll tell you what she's just been charged with. Coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:59, Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. Good morning to you. Welcome on in to a Friday. Okay, coming up next, we've got all the latest on Iran. I know, big shocker, waking up this morning as I did, seeing that Iran has droned a ship out of Singapore. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 6 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A former Nashville teacher arrested nearly a year after admitting that she had a sexual relationship with a student. 32-year-old Khadijah Kuykendall was a 10th grade teacher at Whites Creek High School until last August when she told a fellow teacher about that relationship.
There was nearly a year-long investigation. She's now facing several charges, including statutory rape. She's being held on a $150,000 bond.
That's Marius Payton at Channel 4. So hot today that NES says it'll temporarily stop making disconnections due to non-payment, at least for now, when the heat index goes over 102 degrees. Also, Middle Tennessee Electric says they'll stop disconnects starting today through next week. A judge has sided with an independent journalist seeking withheld portions of the Epstein files.
A federal judge is ordering the Justice Department to turn over unredacted versions of some of the Epstein files. Judge Emmett Sullivan ruling that the Trump administration may have violated a transparency law by withholding parts of the documents. The judge gave the Justice Department until July 2nd to release some records with fewer redactions, including information about certain emails and names connected to a draft indictment. The department must also provide a log explaining why other information remains hidden. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Core inflation rose to its highest in 2.5 years in May, but it wasn't as bad as equities investors had feared. The Dow on Thursday rose 71 points and closed near its record high, but ongoing losses for tech shares dealt a blow to the other major stock averages. The S&P fell 0.2%, the Nasdaq 0.8. Customers loved it, but $20 Ultimate Endless Shrimp helped to drive Red Lobster into bankruptcy. Now some creditors are suing the former controlling shareholder, Thai Union, saying that seafood producer demanded the promotion remain in place because it benefited from it. In its filing, the creditors called the Endless Shrimp deal a car crash. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
But it was so good. Dow futures this morning are down 72. NASDAQ futures also in the negative side this morning at down 374 points. S&P futures, they're minus 38. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Big old trouble on 40 westbound this morning in Glen Cliff. Just before Spence Lane, you're going to find an accident, and I can see this one on the cameras. It looks like there is a fire truck parked perpendicular right across the 3 right lanes, and traffic is having to squeeze around it on the on the left 2 lanes, and it is really slow going as that traffic is trying to get around it this morning. Adding to all of it is that there's an entrance lane as traffic is feeding into that spot too. So it is a choke point. It is really slow. 40 westbound at Spence Lane this morning. 3 right lanes are blocked. Antioch, watch it on Bell Road. Southbound lanes at Bell Forge Lane. There's another scene of a crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you and welcome on into a Friday. Hey, coming up at 6:35, Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at Advancing American Freedom. I just like to call him our friend, Hans von Spakovsky. Well, the Donald Trump had a couple of really big SCOTUS victories yesterday related to illegal immigration. We are going to talk about that, not birthright citizenship. We're still waiting for the details on SCOTUS and the Supreme Court and their decision on birthright citizenship. But we'll talk about the president's victories at the Supreme Court regarding illegal immigration. Apparently, we're now going to be able to deport a lot of those Haitian refugees that the Democrats have been trying to protect. We'll get into all the details coming up at 6:35 with Hans von Spakovsky, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, what is the latest on Iran? I have some video here. Sam, Donald Trump last night speaking to farmers, and yes, Iran did come up.
Navy, they had 159 ships within 1.5 weeks. They were all at the bottom of the sea. And then I have to listen to the fake news. Oh, they're much better today than they were then. These people are crazy. They want to make a deal with us very badly. And we probably will. I think we will. But the Strait is open. Yesterday, they took out 19 million barrels of oil. That's the most in the history of the Strait. And the oil prices are dropping like a rock. And
Yep, that is most certainly true. The oil prices are dropping like a rock. Joan, I know you're busy, but where are the oil futures at this morning?
All right, so let's run over to that screen. So I've got Brent crude at $72 a barrel and the West Texas Intermediary at $69.50. So pretty much where we were yesterday.
Which is a heck of a lot better than where we were 3 or 4 weeks ago. So absolutely. Thank you, Joan. There seems to be, and I get it. I do get it. There is a debate that is going on right now over what victory means. And obviously, at least to me, victory means for the American people, oil prices are going to go back down. But as it relates to Iran, what does victory mean? There is no doubt that we have decimated their military. There's no doubt that we have bombed the living crap out of them and killed a lot of their leadership. But does that mean that we've won? Now, it seems to me like it is a victory that the Strait of Hormuz is now open. However, Iran continues to flip Donald Trump the middle finger. Remember, and I've been saying this for a long time, all Iran has to do, the government there, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, all they have to do is survive, and they've been able to do that. So the question is, what does victory mean? What does it mean to win? What does it mean to lose for both sides? Now, yesterday, Iran attacked a Singapore-flagged cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. They are clearly testing the deal that Donald Trump has put together, the Memorandum of Understanding. This is from Reuters. A one-way attack drone maneuvered to the west side of the ship before it struck the vessel. According to one of the officials, an indication that the attack was deliberate. The attack damaged the ship's bridge, leaving no casualties. Really what this seems to be is a middle finger. This is the way that I'm describing it. It is a military finger from Iran to Donald Trump, a middle finger to Donald Trump. The incident took place near the coast of Oman hours after the paramilitary's Navy warned ships not to use routes through the waterway that the regime had not sanctioned. So basically, Iran is blaming Singapore because they were on the Oman side of the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran wants to be able to see the ships that are coming through. And this was a route that was not sanctioned. I'm not saying that this was something that Iran should have done or should be allowed to do, but they did it anyway. They say on Tuesday, the International Maritime Organization told shippers it was coordinating an evacuation route for the hundreds of ships still stuck in the Persian Gulf in cooperation with Iran, Oman, and other coastal states and the United States. Hours after the attack, the International Maritime Organization, the IMO, United Nations body, announced that it had paused the evacuation operation. The president and everyone else keep saying that Iran has no military left. You just heard the president say it last night, and we killed their regime, I guess, 3 layers deep. And again, the problem is Iran is still there. They keep doing these kinds of things. And again, I've been saying for a long time, Donald Trump and our military, we are really good at blowing crap up. We really are. But strategically, Iran clearly has not only survived, but could actually thrive with all of those lifted sanctions and unfrozen assets. This goes back to the debate that I was talking about. In the audio bite that I played, you have some people, I'm not one of them, but I'm going to kind of explain all this. You have some people that are saying, well, Iran is better off now than they were before. They're talking about the lifted sanctions and the unfrozen assets, and also the possibility that Iran is going to try to, anyway, charge fees for ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. And so the bottom line is that you could make the argument that because of all of the lifted sanctions and unfrozen assets, that Iran is going to get a massive amount of money. This is a huge windfall for the government of Iran. So you could make that argument, and that is the argument that people are making, that Iran is better off from a financial standpoint. The Trump administration will remind you that their military is gone, their Navy, their Air Force, and all of those people were killed. It just depends on how you're looking at it. You know what? That's the Daily Dan poll. Let's do a Daily Dan poll. Joan, am I right on this? Daily Dan poll. Do you believe that Iran is better off now? And then put in parentheses, if you would, lifted sanctions, unfrozen assets. Do you believe that Iran is better off now than they were before the war?
Well, if you're going to put in the lifted sanctions, I mean, that's only the financial part of it.
Right. And that's the point that I'm making, Joan. You have the decimated military.
Yes.
You have all of the Iranian Islamic officials that have been killed, right? 3 layers deep in the Islamic National Guard. So you have the Revolutionary Guard. So you have all that from a military standpoint. But then when you look at the financial standpoint, Iran is going to get a windfall financially. So I'm trying to explain the two different sides where people are saying Iran is going to be much better off now than they were before. Trump and everybody is saying, well, militarily, no, but from an economic standpoint, it's clear that they are. Now, the question is, what are they going to do with that money?
Yeah.
Are they going to help the Iranian people? Because remember, we've been talking about how Iran, the economy in Iran is just I mean, it has been decimated, and it has been for a long time because of those sanctions. Will Iran use that money for helping the Iranian people, or will they use it for terrorism? I think, and I know that I think the three of us have already talked about this. Joan, are you of the opinion that Iran is going to use that money for terrorism?
I think in part they probably will. We may have killed people in the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, but they're the ones that are running the country still.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been a change of heart in these people. They're still just as, they still have as much hatred for the West as they could possibly have. They have no regard for the people who are Iranian citizens. So, I guess I'm convincing myself that, they'll probably use it for terroristic means.
Listen, it's a hard conversation to have amongst conservatives. We voted for Donald Trump. I still believe in Donald Trump, but I can see and understand both sides of the argument, and that's what I'm trying to tell folks.
I see. So, knowing what we know about Donald Trump, which and the left does not believe any of this about him. They don't even they've never even heard the stories about his heart, his humanitarianism. We know that Donald Trump helps people, uses his own assets to do so. Built the skating park in New York City because it was an effort that had gone sour, and he decided he was going to do it himself.
Yeah.
He has beautified so much of Washington just because he wants to give that to the American people. He's got a heart. He's not the kind of person that's going to leave Iran a mess and, without infrastructure and with businesses that are destroyed. He's that kind of person that wants to see it do well. But I don't know if that's enough. I don't know, does that blind his ability to see how evil this empire is?
No,
I don't know.
I think he made a huge gamble on this. This game is not over yet.
It's not.
That's the thing I keep trying to tell people. This is not over yet. And it's not going to be over for a long time. I think Donald Trump's eyes are wide open on all of this. I think that his heart is absolutely in the right place. We're again, not to belabor the point, we don't know how this whole thing is going to end up. But there are two sides to this conversation. I still believe in Donald Trump. I think the president, though, understands that the American people pretty much done with this whole thing. And the fact that gas prices are going down is a huge, huge step. The question is, how do you define victory for Iran? How do you define victory for America? And how do you define defeat for both? There's the military and there is the political. Little late for traffic. It is 6:16. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Glencliff, 40 westbound before Spence Lane. An accident blocks the 3 right lanes at the Massman Drive overpass. Use caution. Antioch, Bell Road southbound. An accident at Bell Forge Lane. No problems on 24 or 65. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Far as your weather goes, it is going to be pretty nice today. Mostly cloudy. Chance of showers and thunderstorms. I guess not nice unless you like the rain. High of 82. And on Saturday, mixed clouds and sun, a high of 84. Sunday, storms and a possible high of 94. Next week, we're talking about this earlier, man. It is going to be HOTT hot. We're talking about feels like temperature in the triple digits. So just look forward to that if you like the hot weather.
Oh, did I tell you? I got my air conditioning fixed at my house.
You know what? I didn't want to make a big deal out of it because you did mention that yesterday, but people on the super text line wanted to know if you got your air conditioning fixed. And you
want to
have.
know what we found?
What'd you find?
We found a groundhog living underneath the unit, the air conditioning unit.
You found a groundhog?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It jumped out and scared the HVAC guy.
No kidding. So it was a live groundhog.
Yeah.
And he was messing with your air conditioning?
So I don't know if he was the cause of, there were some wires that disconnected or whatever, and I don't know if he was the cause of it, but there was a groundhog underneath. So he chased him out, and we had to put fencing around the HVAC unit so that he couldn't get back in.
All right, there you go.
Crazy stuff.
Gotta love those groundhogs.
Oh yeah.
But wait, what was he doing to mess with your air conditioning? Like, what is he doing? What was he? He wasn't turning it off.
No, I think he got disconnected some wires.
All right, very good.
John must have left a pair of pliers or something laying around for him to do that with.
Well, they have teeth, Sam.
I know. I was...
Wise guy.
Hey, can I ask a question? And people might get mad at this because they always do. But should people on SNAP benefits really be able to buy Coke and candy and all that crap with their SNAP benefits?
No. Can I say no?
So apparently, and I don't know if this was last week or when exactly this was.
It was a couple days ago.
There's so much in the news. Federal judge decided that SNAP recipients should still be able to buy crap with their SNAP benefits. So they're going to be buying soda pop. They're going to be buying, I don't know, whatever other crap chips that they're able to buy with it as well. You'll recall that I believe it was the Trump administration, right, wanted to healthy up the SNAP benefit recipients. Because when they're allowed to buy all of this crap, then diabetes is going to be on the rise, and these people are going to have all kinds of health problems as well. There was a moment, and Sam, help me set this up. There was a moment, Brandon Gill, congressman out of Texas, we have to do this fast, but he is questioning, is this a SNAP recipient or who is this? I'm going to play the audio, then we'll give you some of the background on the other side. But he's basically asking, why exactly is it are SNAP recipients needing to buy all of this crap? This is video and audio.
Do the American people need Coca-Cola to survive?
I did not say that. I said then.
I'm asking you. I'm giving you the opportunity to say yes or no.
I will not answer for individuals and their choices.
You think that there are some Americans who need Coca-Cola to survive? Is that your testimony?
I am happy to talk about the food and nutrition
You just don't know.
that individuals have.
You just don't know. I think most people can rationally say that you don't need Coca-Cola to survive. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree that we have a hunger crisis and that we need to address it by ensuring that individuals have the food resource that they need.
Got it. And one of those is sugary Coca-Cola.
So I love that Brandon Gill is like, okay, so do people need Coke? Now, is it a fair question to ask, do people need Coca-Cola to survive? I need coffee to survive. You know what I mean?
No.
So...
Well, but you buy that with your own hard-earned dollar.
Yes, fair point. So who was that woman?
That is Gina Platanino. She's the director of SNAP Policy and Advocacy for the Food Research and Action Center, or FRAC, a leading national anti-hunger advocacy organization. She is a public interest attorney who designs and executes national strategies to expand food access for low-income families. And I guess she wants them to be perpetually ill from drinking soda and eating a bunch of candy.
Right, and that's the thing. The funny thing is somebody has photoshopped a hat of Coca-Cola hat on her head, because clearly she didn't want to say anything negative about Coca-Cola. But I mean, I'm right there with Brandon Gill. I mean, you look at some of these folks that you assume or you know, or they even say that they're on food. Remember when we were having this conversation, and there were videos all over the internet of people going through the grocery store complaining that they couldn't buy their Twinkies and Ding Dongs because the Trump administration was telling them that they couldn't, and they're screaming, they're attacking the checkers behind the counter, the whole thing, and it was ridiculous. And it's like, honey, you could use a few less Ding Dongs.
Well, it just shows that people are chemically dependent and addicted to these processed foods. And that judge flipping the ban takes hold in 45 states. So in 45 states, you can still buy junk with your SNAP benefits. We are one of the states that said hell no.
Yeah, there are state restrictions and regulations, and then there's the federal as well. But all I'm saying is, as a guy who pays a lot of money in taxes, I can tell you that I find it abhorrent that there are people that are getting these kinds of benefits and they're buying really crappy food. And so then some of these folks are on, government, Medicare, Medicaid, all that stuff. And they end up with horrible diseases in their adult life and in their older years as well, because they've been eating crappy for so long. I do understand. By the way, I do understand.
Wait, finish
it is.
that.
What's
Finish that? They end up in their older age with these diseases, and then what? Medicaid has to take care of them. So again, we are caring for them, paying with our tax dollars to care for people who are sick because they made bad choices.
We are carrying these people through their adulthood into their old age as well. As they make these really poor choices nutritionally, we're paying for it. And I will say, because whenever we talk about this, it always comes up that it's a lot cheaper to buy crappy food. It's a lot more expensive to buy the vegetables and buy the fruit and buy the fruit juices, et cetera. I know that. So maybe there's something that we can do where if you are on those benefits, whatever they may be, that, I don't know, is it fair to say they get these items at a lower price? Then why are we not only paying for them, but we're subsidizing their diet? And good for them for buying stuff buying stuff that's more nutritious, but we're paying exorbitant prices for stuff and they're getting it for cheaper. Well, so it's a no-win situation.
But we do live in a day and age. If you want to be able to eat healthy on a budget, there are plenty of people out there that have come up with recipes. I mean, the food landscape has blown open with social media.
That is true.
But to that point about how, I walk through Walmart and I see somebody with 3 or 4, 12 or 24 packs of soda in their cart, and then I see like one thing of eggs and one little thing of chicken. Like, I cringe naturally that you spend your own money on that kind of stuff, but do you, man? That's your right.
Right.
When it comes to my tax dollars, I definitely don't want to see a shopping cart loaded up with stuff like that, knowing that it was my money paying for them to kill themselves slowly.
And you don't know these days who's on food stamps, or you don't know because they don't. I don't know how they used to do it, but basically these days it looks like a credit card. But
it's
bank card.
Got an American flag. You can spot them if you know what they look like.
No, I don't know what they look like.
And then half the people that have them go, y'all take EBT?
Okay, moving right along. 626 on Super Talk 99.7. Hans von Spakovsky coming up next as we have Joan Jones in the news at 6:30. Joan.
Yeah, we've got what happened yesterday in the Blaze Taylor murder trial in Nashville. It's coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 627. Dan Mandis here for my friends at the Covered Patio. Warmer weather means you want to spend more time outside. So if you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. I've talked about how I love my covered patio that I have, and when it gets really hot, like we're going to see next week with the feels like temperatures up over 100 degrees, if you can use shades to shade your patio, that makes it even better on these really hot days. The Covered Patio can do that for you. They've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun, closed when you want some shade, so your back screened-in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. Now, at the Covered Patio, if you want to upgrade or if you want to build a patio, they've got a number of options waiting for you. Motorized screens, patio covers, custom wooden decks, and outdoor structures. A ton of options with styles for every budget. 615-695-2407. 615-695-2407. TheCoveredPatio.com. TheCoveredPatio.com.
Good morning. It's now 6:32. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Testimony continuing in the Blaze Taylor murder trial yesterday. The former Tennessee Titans scout is on trial in the death of his pregnant girlfriend, and prosecutors say she died after consuming a spiked drink.
A forensic scientist testified that she tested several drinking glasses that were inside the apartment, along with several bottles of juice, but she didn't find any type of drug residue on the glasses or the bottles.
If someone prior to you, not with Metro PD, would have rinsed it out with warm water, soap, anything like that, are these results consistent with that?
Potentially, if the glass contained some kind of controlled substance and it was washed with water, that could remove some of that controlled substance, yes.
And during the trial Wednesday, a friend of Jade's testified that she smelled cleaning products when she went into Jade's apartment the night she was hospitalized.
That's Channel 4's Marius Payton. The medical examiner takes the stand today. In a pair of 6-3 decisions, the Supreme Court yesterday allowing the Trump administration to end legal protection for Haitian and Syrian immigrants who are in the country on temporary protected status. It also allowed the administration to move ahead with its immigration policy that turns back migrants seeking asylum at the southern border. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller.
On the asylum point is we've implemented international agreements all over the world to take in our asylum seekers. So America's doors are closed fully to asylum seekers. We've set up agreements where if you want asylum, then we will find a country elsewhere in the world to take you. It's very simple, very elegant, very complete solution.
Now, the court still has to decide President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship by executive order. That ensures babies born on American soil are automatically American citizens. Well, that decision will potentially come down on Monday. We've got more of this coming up with Hans von Spakovsky at Advancing American Freedom with Dan. It's coming up next. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Jones. 634, Super Talk 99.7. Brentwood Jewelry. So many things to celebrate this year, including graduations and weddings and anniversaries and birthdays, and yes, America's independence as well. Why not celebrate with an incredible savings on fine watches and jewelry and diamonds going on right now through the 4th of July? We are talking about massive savings. Listen to this. At Brentwood Jewelry, in honor of Americans' 250th birthday, get $250 off any in-store item priced at $1,000 or more. That is huge. Great savings from Brentwood Jewelry. So come on in and celebrate freedom with some great Americans at Brentwood Jewelry. You walk in, by the way, and I've talked about this before, my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. You walk in, they've got American flags all over the place. Don't forget, $250 off any purchase of $1,000 or more going on right now through the 4th of July at Brentwood Jewelry, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Be sure and tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Exceptional styles, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. BrentwoodJewelry.com.
It's on 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. It's on the right shoulder. That, by the way, is an SUV that flipped over on the on-ramp. And Glen Cliff, they're still working that crash scene at I-40 westbound before Spence Lane, exit 213. But rescue crews there have been able to move the accident off to the right shoulder, and traffic is now moving around it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.639 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome back into your Friday. Hans von Spakovsky is joining us. Of course, Hans, Senior Legal Fellow at Advancing American Freedom. President Trump, a couple of victories at the Supreme Court. Hans, always great to have you on the program. So let's talk about these victories. Great news for President Trump since, of course, he made dealing with and tackling with illegal immigration a cornerstone of his campaign. So I want to take these one at a time, and then we're going to talk about birthright citizenship. But apparently now, with these big wins, Donald Trump can revoke the protections of Syrian and Haitian nationals. Stephen Miller out there saying yesterday, you had a lot of people saying, well, does this mean that Donald Trump is going to start deporting those hundreds of thousands of Haitians and Syrians that are in our country illegally without those protections? And Stephen Miller said yes. So, Hans, give me your take.
Well, presidents have always had the right to do this. What they're talking about is TPS, temporary protected status. And back in 1990, Congress gave the president the ability to provide lawful presence temporarily to aliens from countries that were suffering things like natural disasters. So the Haitians, for example, back in 2010, were allowed to stay here because an earthquake had hit Haiti. The problem is that it was always supposed to be temporary. And yet you have all the Haitians, 2010 earthquake, they were still in the country today, 26 years later. So the president, when he came in, said, well, I'm going to end TPS for all these different groups. There were Haitians and Syrians before the court, but as you know, he's also done it for Nicaraguans, Venezuelans, Somalians, etc. Well, he was sued. Lower court said, oh, you can't do that. We're enjoining you to stopping you from doing it. And what the court said yesterday is those injunctions are invalid for a very simple reason. The statute that set up TPS has a provision that says there is no judicial review of either the granting of or termination of TPS status. End of story.
So you follow illegal immigration, obviously, you're a legal expert in all of that. So how difficult is it going to be to begin to deport? I mean, you're talking about, last time I saw, is it 300,000 to 400,000 Haitians that are here? We all remember, by the way, the visual. Folks remember the visual of all of those Haitians underneath that bridge years ago that the Biden administration tried to hide. Then, of course, Fox News sent over a drone, and Americans were horrified at the crushing number of Haitians that were under that, I think it was a freeway overpass, busting into America.
Well, look, no, it's not going to be easy, but with this Supreme Court decision, it means that DHS has the ability, when they find a Haitian or a Syrian or any of the other folks that TPS has been ended for, they have the ability to immediately pick them up, detain them, drive them to the airport, and put them on a plane back to their home countries, and they don't have any ability to go to court and tried to stop it. And look, you're talking about the number of Haitians. The estimate I saw for all of the different groups with TPS is over 1 million.
And I would say this is good news. The left is, of course, losing their ever-loving mind. Talk to me about other immigrants or illegal aliens in this country as well. Because I saw one story that said this also means that one of the other things that Donald Trump has been trying to do is deport immigrants or illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them, depending on each individual person, from 13 other terrorism-plagued countries can also be removed. Does this impact, people that are maybe here from, I don't know, Somalia or some of these other countries?
Yeah, if they're here under temporary protected status granted by prior presidents, the president has the ability to end that status and, like I said, immediately remove them. But look, that wasn't the only decision the Supreme Court issued on Tuesday. I'm sorry, on Thursday. They issued another big immigration case. Once again, it was 6-3. Mm-hmm. I mean, the liberal justices are just willing to twist the law to avoid immigration enforcement. That one was also very simple.
Well, hold on. Hey, Hans, hold on one sec, because we're going to talk about the metering of the Trump administration coming up. I've got to check traffic. This is a great conversation, though, but I've got 15 seconds for traffic on WTN. Thank you very much. As far as your weather for today, mostly cloudy, chance of showers and thunderstorms, high around 90. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Hans von Spakovsky joining us on Super Talk 99.7. So also yesterday, as Hans, you're about to launch into, the Supreme Court ruling that the president can limit asylum seekers coming in from Mexico. Explain the concept of metering and what happened yesterday.
Yeah, actually, this program was started in 2016. So it was the Obama administration that started it. So many aliens were coming through ports of entry that border agents were being overwhelmed. And so they started what they called metering. They would only allow a certain number of aliens in a day. They would process them and then allow them into the country. And they blocked other aliens from stepping across the border. So they remained in Mexico. All those aliens who were blocked and were not allowed to step across the line sued, saying, because once you're in the U.S., once you stepped across that line, the aliens who'd been processed could claim asylum.
Yep.
And the aliens who were kept out of the country sued, saying, we are also entitled to claim asylum. And what the 6 justices of the court said, again, this is a very simple case. You can't claim asylum under the law until you have arrived in the United States. And what the court said was, arrived in the United States, what is the ordinary everyday meaning of that? You haven't arrived in, for example, a house until you've crossed across the
threshold.
The threshold and gotten into the house. And so all these aliens, no, they don't have a right to claim asylum because they're here. The 3 liberals, if you can believe this, criticized the majority, saying that they were fixated on the word in. And that therefore we should give asylum rights to people who have arrived on our doorstep. And that's not what the law says. This was a simple law. So in other words, presidents can block, actually close the border. They can block aliens from stepping across the line. And those aliens don't have any rights under American law when they're kept out of the country.
Well, I just want to get a little bit of perspective from you on this. Sonia Sotomayor, in her dissent, says the consequences of today's decision are predictable. more people will die, more people will attempt to cross the border illegally, and some will make it while others will not. The reality is that Joe Biden had open borders, and so that meant that people felt like they were welcome to come into our country, which under Biden they were. But a lot of people died crossing that desert. And so
That's right.
Donald Trump has often said that his immigration policies and closed border are the more compassionate, because if people know they're not going to get into our country, then they're not going to make that dangerous trek.
No, that is exactly right. But notice what that reveals about Sotomayor. She is, in that statement, she's disagreeing with the policy. She doesn't like the policy. But that's not her job as Supreme Court Justice. Her job is to interpret whether the president was able to do that under the applicable law. And that she refused to do. Instead, she didn't like the policy the president had implemented, and therefore she ruled against it, despite the language of the law that clearly says the president can do this.
Sticking with illegal immigration, no ruling yet on birthright citizenship. Everybody is watching this one. Do you have, number one, a prediction as to when this is going to finally be revealed? That's number one. And I guess number two is the fact that the president has victories in these two illegal immigration or immigration-related policies. Is that an indicator as to how this court will rule on birthright citizenship?
Well, we might get it Monday. On yesterday, after they had released these decisions, they announced Monday as another decision release day. But remember, they've still got, I think, about 10 cases they haven't released decisions on. I don't know if we'll get them all on Monday or whether they'll then schedule another day, perhaps Tuesday or Wednesday. But I'm pretty sure we're going to get it next week, because next week is the end of the Supreme Court's term. They always break for the summer at the end of June. I don't know how this case is going to come out. They've never decided this issue. There are some prior cases on this. The most recent one is 130 years old. The government did have a tough time during the oral questioning, so I think they're battling uphill, and the Trump administration may lose this one. I'm hoping they don't, because they're right on the constitutional issue, but I don't know how it's going to come out.
Hans, you watch the Supreme Court, obviously far closer than I do. Have all these decisions already been made? How do they decide when to release what decision?
Well, they release decisions once everyone has written their opinions. They've either joined the majority opinion, or if they're dissenters, like the three liberals who dissented in all these immigration cases, they have to write their dissenting opinion, and they can't release a decision until all those decisions have been written. And you know, Molly Hemingway recently wrote a book that says that the liberals have been delaying the release of decisions they disagree with by refusing to complete the writing of their dissenting opinion.
No, petulant Democrats, really?
Yes.
Shocking, said no one.
Right.
All right. Well,
right.
Hans von Spakovsky, always great to have you on the program. We'll talk to you again. Maybe we'll talk to you next week if birthright citizenship comes out.
Right. That sounds great. Thanks.
All right, man. Have a great weekend. It is 6:52 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan has the news coming up at 7. Joan Jones.
Yeah, TDOT is coming to the rescue of some new parts of Middle Tennessee. We'll explain in the 7 o'clock newscast coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, if you're looking for a new car, look no further than Mid-10 Ford. Now, they are my new friends, but they're certainly not new to Middle Tennessee. You know, Mid-10 Ford, they've been here for 56 years. Selling cars, sure, but the reality is that they've been building relationships generation after generation. Now, at Mid-10 Ford, they've got a no-hassle, low-pressure approach to selling cars. No gimmicks, no pushy salespeople, just honest folks helping you find the right car for you and your family. Mid-10 Ford is the place to go to buy your new car or truck, and where you go to get it serviced as well. Yeah, they've even got a body shop. It is literally a one-stop shop for all things Ford cars and trucks. Mid-10 Ford has you covered and have been since 1969. So listen, if you are looking for a car right now, they're offering employee pricing to you. So you pay what their employees pay. That's a pretty good discount, friends. So stop by Mid-10 Ford, 1319 Foster Avenue. You can call them at 615-949-2737. Above all, find their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com, or find them on Facebook and Instagram. Mid-10 Ford, where trust comes first. Tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. .657 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Stephen Miller. We're just talking about illegal immigration and President Trump's victories there at the Supreme Court. White House Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller talking to reporters, and I did ask Hans von Spakovsky the question. how difficult is it going to be to remove all of those Haitians and some of these other folks? Hans von Spakovsky talked about how there's like over 1 million people that have this temporary protective status. And this is what Stephen Miller said. Is President Trump really going to try to deport all of those people?
Do you expect the administration to deport anyone who loses TPS status as a result of this ruling?
Well, of course, if you no longer have status in this country, then you're supposed to be deported. And in particular, in the case of the Haitians, the Biden administration flew over vast numbers. It's hard to know the exact number, but probably more than 1 million illegal immigrants from Haiti. That's not counting the border crossings into the United States. So these are people who've only been here for a few months, who are receiving welfare, whose all their ties, all their social connections, all their family is back in their home country of Haiti. And of course, that's where they should go.
Does that mean more? Do you expect?
All right, so that is Stephen Miller, and he is absolutely right. Now, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is now Donald Trump is legally allowed to deport and remove all of these folks with this temporary protective status. The bad news is actually being able to do that is going to be difficult. Also, remember that at some point, the Democrats will bring yet another case and it'll make its way through the courts and they'll try to find another way to protect as many illegal aliens as they possibly can. It is 6:59 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here for a Friday. Do not forget that you can always watch the show on YouTube during the show, after the radio program as well. If you don't have time in the morning, you have to leave the program at 7:30 or whatever. You can catch the final 90 minutes either on YouTube after the fact at your convenience. You can also download the program anytime you want. You could download whatever highlights might actually happen during the program by accident or otherwise. You can find us, watch us anytime. Find all the links at 997WTN.com. 7 o'clock, Joe and Jones has the news right now.
Good morning. It is 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. NES will begin burying power lines in some neighborhoods this summer as part of a pilot program after the devastating winter storm we experienced in January. WSMV4's Braden Ross.
The conversation about power lines in Nashville has gone underground.
It's been a conversation for quite some time that burying utilities makes the most sense.
And now Metro Councilmember Joy Stiles wants to make it a requirement for all new streets in the city.
You hate when you have to make someone do something when you know it's the right thing to do. But we really don't have a choice. The fallout from this storm has been so significant.
As Nashville continues to grow, Stiles says this is an opportunity for these new developments to get it right.
But burying power lines in existing neighborhoods is a much tougher undertaking. Metro Council is not considering that just yet. TDOT is rolling out its emergency services now to rural areas of Middle Tennessee. It'll happen this weekend. Here's News 2's Lexi Wilson.
As Middle Tennessee grows, there's a need to help more drivers, especially in our rural areas.
Speeds are higher, distances to medical care are usually further away. Both of those two facts alone make it more of a challenge. So rapid response is critical, and having assets close by is extremely critical.
A first aid kit, another first aid kit.
That's where the TDOT Rural Service Patrol comes in. Over the last few months, they've been deploying these trucks throughout the state. The service provides free assistance for things like minor repairs, fuel, traffic control, and incident response.
And their efforts will cover about 870 miles of interstate. A new spark of violence in the Middle East. A cargo ship sailing through the Strait of Hormuz has been hit by an Iranian drone attack. This happened on a ship that was traveling through the southernmost part of the strait near the coast of Oman. Now, Iranian officials consider ships that go through Omani waters to be unauthorized. The bridge of the ship was damaged by that drone.
What we saw was Iran making warnings throughout the day, essentially saying that they were only going to allow passage through the Strait of Hormuz if it went through authorized lanes, Well, the authorized lane that they're talking about are essentially the waters off of Iran. And they don't like that the UN agency that was responsible for maritime shipping, that they were advocating for a southern route off the coast of Oman.
That's ABC's Luis Martinez. President Trump, speaking last night, said the strait is open. The flight from far-left policies is on now, and Morgan Stanley is the latest example. Dallas lawmakers just unanimously approved an $18 million incentive package aimed at persuading the financial giant to pick up and move its headquarters there. Looks like it's a done deal, too. Morgan Stanley has proposed a $1.3 billion skyscraper, and the Dallas incentives may just be what it needs to choose Dallas over the rival bidder, which is Alpharetta, Georgia. The move comes just days after a string of victories by far-left Democrats in New York. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We're looking at pre-market numbers this morning. Everything is in the red. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got a crash in Millersville that's causing some trouble on I-65 northbound this morning at the Louisville Highway exit number 98. That is a crash reported within a construction zone. Be careful. Metro Center, Rosa Parks Boulevard at Great Circle Road. That's a crash that involves injuries. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WT. And earlier, way back in the 5 o'clock hour, we talked about something that Ted Cruz said about Tucker Carlson, calling him the most dangerous demagogue in America. I may revisit that because I think that Ted Cruz, I'm no fan of Tucker Carlson. I'm a big fan of Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is so wrong. I think that one of the biggest demagogues in America is Zohran Mamdani out there in New York, mayor of New York. And the reason I say that is because Mamdani was able to put not one, not two, but 3 people into the House of Representatives. And it's insane when you look at the fact that socialism and the tenets of socialism are so incredibly unpopular here in America. Still, Harry Enton on CNN, got some video here, Sam. Harry Enton on CNN did a whole thing on how unpopular socialism here in America.
Because what is true in New York City in a Democratic primary ain't necessarily true nationwide with the general electorate. I mean, just take a look here. Net favorable rating of Democrat Socialists. If you look at Democrats nationwide, look at this. Democrat Socialists are on the positive side of the ledger at plus 17 points. This includes Democratic-leaning independents. But look at all voters. A completely different world. 27 points underwater Democratic Socialists of America are in the net favorable rating. So,
all right, so just real quick, because he goes, I love Harry Enton, he goes really fast. Democrats plus 17 when it comes to the Democrat, I'm going to air quote this because everybody knows they're socialists or communists. The Democrat Socialists of America, Democrats plus 17. So the Democrat Party clearly seems to appreciate where the party is headed. All voters, negative 27. That is huge. And this is why I implore people on our side of the aisle, do not stay home for the midterm elections, because this could be closer than anybody thinks. It is clear that the Democrats are going in a direction that the American people don't like. However, if the people who are conservative stay home, you might get what you don't vote for. Here's more from Harry Enton.
what are we talking about? A 44-point difference here in the wrong direction when we come to Democratic Socialists of America, jumping from being pretty popular among Democrats to being not popular at all among all voters.
What about just the word socialist or socialism? How's that doing?
Yeah, okay. So, one of the trends that we have seen is among Democrats, socialism has become more popular over the last decade and a half. But what about the rest of the electorate? And this, I think, gives the game away right here. Okay, positive view of socialism. Among Democrats, look at this. Up considerably from where we were in 2010, 50% to now 66% now. That's a jump of 16 points in a decade and a half. But look at all others. The number is the same. It was 29% back in 2010. It's 30% now. Socialism has become increasingly popular among Democrats, but it is a much tougher sell in the rest of the electorate. It's a much tougher sell among independents.
So we had that conversation yesterday, right? So should the Republican Party take advantage of this? Take advantage of what Mamdani has done with these 3 people that he endorsed that are now going to be in the House of Representatives. And that is rather stunning. The Democrats in 2010, positive view of socialism, 50% back in 2010. In 2025, 66%. So clearly the Democrats are going in this direction of more socialism in America. All others, it's basically been the same. 29% had a positive view of socialism in 2010. In 2025, 30%, basically the same. And so what in the world are the Democrats doing? Why are the Democrats going in this direction? And you got me, but I will tell you this, that the socialists, especially amongst the younger set of the Democrat Party, they're dragging their party further and further left. And a lot of people on the right have been saying, including yours truly, this is great. This is going to be a great talking point for the Republican Party heading into the midterms. So I'm just here to tell you, because I got a lot of people that are chirping at me and they're like, I'm going to stay home in the midterms. We didn't get the Save America Pact passed. I said asked. I did do that, didn't I?
Yes.
It was, you know what? The show's been going so well, too. The Save America Act passed. Not asked. Anyway. You know what? I was thinking about Mamdani, and I've said a lot worse about Mamdani than the ASS word.
Yeah.
Dear Eliza Avia Chevalier. She is one of the three.
Chevy Cavalier. What?
Chevy, whatever. She has now been making the rounds, and people have been uncovering some of the things that she stands for. And I'm going to play this audio and video talking about illegal immigration and using our and your taxpayer dollars to protect illegal aliens. Listen to this.
And so I'm so deeply excited and honored to have built a coalition of folks who have a vision for what we can build towards, a vision that includes using our resources, our tax dollars, towards eradicating childhood poverty, towards investing in our children here at home instead of in bombs abroad, a vision that includes making sure that we are protecting our immigrant communities, abolishing ICE.
So that's what she wants to do. She wants to, and I'm going to air quote all of this, protect our immigrant communities and abolishing ICE. This is what the Democrat Party stands for now. And so for people on the right, I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, this is music to my ears because by and large, people are against this. Again, not to belabor the point. My worry is that I'm hearing from people that are saying they're going to stay home in the midterms because they're just so angry with the Senate for not passing the Save America Act. By the way, Wall Street Journal has this story, also the Daily Mail, and I know this will shock no one. Wall Street to Y'all Street. Dallas lands a $1.3 billion Morgan Stanley skyscraper as executives fear far-left victory in New York City is going to drive more firms south. We'll talk about that straight ahead. Coming up on 7:15 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. Far as your weather goes, today, mostly cloudy, chance of showers and thunderstorms, high around 90. On Saturday, mix of clouds and sun, high of about 84. And on Sunday, storms possible, high of 94. It's going to be really hot next week as well. All right. Dallas has rolled out the red carpet for Morgan Stanley's proposed $1.3 billion skyscraper as fears are growing that a surge in support for far-left politicians in New York could spark a corporate stampede to the South. And we'll take it. There's been a lot of debate as to whether or not this is actually happening. Are millionaires and billionaires fleeing the city of New York and the state of New York? Who was that? Can you look this up for me, Sam? Who was the guy who Mamdani did a video, and Mamdani did a video in front of the guy's skyscraper apartment?
His penthouse suite.
Yeah, who was that?
Ken Griffin, CEO of Citadel.
And didn't he decided to move?
Yep.
He moved. So they moved. They were going to do a huge facility there in New York. Mamdani does this whole big video presentation in front of his skyscraper penthouse where Mamdani is saying, we're going to come after you. We're coming after the millionaires and the billionaires. And the guy, Griffin, said, screw it, man. We're going to leave. And they did.
They moved the headquarters to Miami.
To Miami? Okay.
Yeah, so what they did was kind of did a partial move for now because eventually they'll do the full move, but they needed to kind of split it up before they did a full move. It's got to be very expensive. So, in that Morgan Stanley deal, a lot of towns, cities in the South are vying for business. So this became a toss-up between Alpharetta, Georgia, and Dallas. And, it's whoever offers the most incentives, which is kind of what we went through here with Starbucks, right?
We have talked about corporate incentives for a long time. The Texas Metropolitan lawmakers, Dallas's lawmakers, unanimously approved an $18.5 million incentive package on Wednesday aimed at persuading the Wall Street giant to build a massive new office tower in downtown Dallas and relocate thousands of jobs from New York. And as I've said, one person's, I'm air quoting this, one person's corporate welfare is another community's investment in the future. We can debate that as conservatives all day long. The deal approved in a 15-0 vote by the Dallas City Council, which, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember, it's been a minute since I've been on in Dallas, but these are folks that are actually pretty progressive, but they recognize a good investment when they see it. 15-0 by the Dallas City Council would offer the banking powerhouse generous tax breaks and economic grants if it chooses Texas over rival bidder, as you say, Joan, Alpharetta, Georgia. They did, and they say the prospect of greater influence of Zohran Mamdani and other progressive New York politicians has intensified concerns among some business leaders who fear, and it's a legitimate fear because he's already doing it, higher taxes, stricter regulations and policies they view as hostile to corporate growth could accelerate the flow of jobs and investment to states such as Texas, I will say such as Florida, the free state of Florida, and also South Carolina and Tennessee, et cetera, et cetera. It'll be interesting to see Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson, who I believe, can you look up, is Eric Johnson a Democrat? Knowing Dallas as I do, I would assume. He says, is he, Joan?
I think he's Republican, right?
Eric Johnson? I don't know. Dallas mayor? Dallas is a very liberal city. It's just like, Dallas, by the way, not nearly as bad.
He switched.
Yeah, he switched to Republican.
He switched
Did he really?
in 2023.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Yep.
By the way, Eric Johnson, not the famous guitar player, just so we're all clear.
Okay.
Moving right along.
Because everybody's sure that would happen.
Everybody was positive that the great guitar player Eric Johnson decided that he was going to go off and be a politician. Anyway, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson wasting little time making the pitch. Morgan Stanley's engagement with Dallas speaks to the strength of our financial services ecosystem. We have worked hard to make Dallas America's most pro-business city. Do you know how many people are going to go from I guess, New York and wherever they're from to Dallas? 5,000 jobs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a ton. But I hope that what they don't do is bring their politics here.
On the Citadel job, Ken Griffin moving to Florida, he's going to be building a 54-story super tall project, is what they call it, $2.5 billion. Just building the infrastructure for the company down there is going to create 6,000 construction jobs. And then after it's done, there will be 15,000 permanent corporate positions.
Okay. You know what? I mean, I think that I'm pro-investment. People are going to say that is pro-corporate welfare. I'm just going to say I am pro-investment. But again, Joan, do you think people are going to get tired of hearing this? I understand both sides of the argument. Like, I get both sides of the argument. I get the people that scream corporate welfare. I totally get it.
Sure.
But I also, again, not to belabor the point, I've said this a bazillion times, but I've lived in places where they don't play the game of, investing in the future, corporate investment, and those communities are stagnant. I'm here to tell you.
It's like buying a house. Like you put the down payment down and the hope is that the market, continues to grow long term and you build a sustainable wealth platform from that. So yeah, you're giving them corporate welfare on the front end to move there as an incentive. But the hope is obviously it's going to pay off bigger in the long run for everybody else.
Yeah, in 5725, this is what you were saying, Joan. Dallas winning the Morgan Stanley building may not be good. The people that work for them in New York will be moving, and what that means, more unwanted Dems and libs in Texas. Totally get that.
But a lot of people will decide not to move to the South. They'll say, no, I'm not leaving my family in New York. Yeah. I will find another job in New York, and they'll stay there. And, we kind of hope they do.
Or they'll get to Texas, just like it's happened in Tennessee. They'll get to their new home, and they realize, things don't suck here.
I can carry a gun on my hip and defend my family with it with no real issue.
Right.
And people are kind.
And barbecue.
There is the barbecue as well.
Yeah, not as many vegan sub shops like on the Lower East Side.
Listen,
sushi.
As bad as some, I used to live in Dallas. As bad as some areas in Dallas are, overall Texas and the Dallas metro, it's a great place. It is a great place. They've got Homes are big. The real estate, relatively speaking, is a lot cheaper. You do have a lot of people with very conservative values, people in New York. And I've spoken to people who have come here to Tennessee from places like California, and they weren't exactly sure what to expect. And then, Tennessee grew on them, and they didn't realize it, but they slowly but surely started to become a little more conservative.
Yeah.
Just happened because they realized that, oh, look, there's not as many homeless people. Oh, look, there's not as much crime. Oh, look, I'm not stepping over feces and needles on the streets. You know what I mean? So
I'm not having to pay tax on the money I earned to the state.
They don't have personal income tax in.
Yeah.
Somebody might have to fact check me on that. I live there and I don't remember, but I don't think they have income tax in Texas. Do they? Somebody fact check me on this.
No,
they don't. Okay. You've got so the no income tax states. It's Florida, it's Tennessee, it's Texas. I think there's 5. Who are the other ones? Joan, who are the other ones?
Which ones did you name?
I named
Florida,
Tennessee, Florida. I stumbled upon Texas, and I don't know who else. There's 8
or 9 total. Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Washington, Wyoming.
New Hampshire. How about that?
Okay. Well, they have to do it in Alaska because nobody wants to live in Alaska. Is that true? Do people want to live in Alaska? I wouldn't.
I think that there are some places in Alaska that people would love to live, but the remotest areas, I think probably not.
It's true.
Yeah.
You got to have a real passion for the mountainside if you live in the remote areas of Alaska.
Yes, you do. Anyway, but Alaska, I'm sure a great place. Wouldn't want to live there. All right, 7:24. Joan's got the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here at 7:30, the death toll has risen after a pair of devastating earthquakes hit Venezuela. We've got the latest from that this morning coming up at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, if you have used a GLP-1 weight loss drug, well, you've seen what the scale can do, but what about the mirror? That can be a completely different story. Sunken cheeks and sagging skin. They call that Ozempic face, and it contours. They see it every single day. Now, they use specialized red light waves to restore that firmness, restore that elasticity, and get you that youthful glow back with no needles, no pain, and no downtime. Now, you can start with a facial for just $99 or add a belly buster special for $149. For a total refresh, ask about the Dan Mandis makeover. You can buy a belly buster package and get a facial package for free. That is $1,500 in total savings. So get your glow back before those summer plans sneak up on you. Book right now at 615-236-9960, 615-236-9960, or at ContoursLLC.com. Contours in Franklin. Results you can see. What have you got to lose but inches?
Good morning. It's now 7:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Another hot one today, and a lot of us will be cranking up the AC at home. Well, that puts a lot of pressure on the power grid. And now NES has come up with a way to ease some of the pressure, and the help is coming from Chattanooga.
NES is partnering with 7 states' power to add large standalone grid batteries. They store energy to help provide some backup when the power grid is stressed. The $400 million project is expected to start next year and should be finished by December of 2028.
That's Channel 4's Marius Payton. The death toll now at 235. Thousands more are injured, and many are still missing after a couple of earthquakes that hit Venezuela. The strong quakes measured magnitudes 7.2 and 7.5, and they came in quick succession, hitting within a number of minutes of each other.
One survivor described it as a horror movie. A section of the Caracas airport that collapsed into a cloud of dust. We saw travelers scrambling to escape. Parts of the terminal were left looking like a war zone. Of course, that airport is now closed.
ABC's Victor Akendo. In the case of the man accused of starting the Palisades fire in California, jurors considering the case against Jonathan Rinderknecht first told the judge that they reached a unanimous verdict. And then, 30 minutes later, they sent another note that said that they were hopelessly deadlocked.
The day ended here with this jury sending a note to the judge reading, "There is nothing the court can do to help deliberations. Unfortunately, we cannot come to unanimous verdicts." Nonetheless, that judge then dismissed them for the day and told them to come back here at 9 o'clock.
ABC's Kevin Ozepik there. Now, Rinderknecht is facing 3 federal charges for the 2025 Palisades fire that killed 12 people, destroyed more than 6,800 homes and businesses. Now attorneys are weighing what to do next as that judge ordered the jurors to return this morning. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 732, Super Talk 99.7, WTN. Michael Patrick Leahy is going to be joining us coming up next after the news. Going to talk about the hijinks and shenanigans of Mayor Freddie O'Connell. That is coming up. Dan Mann is here, lifelong dog owner, and I have seen all kinds of behaviors with my animals, and I bet that you have too. Now, if you have a dog that needs some behavior training, my buddy Jeff and his crew at Ridgeside K9 Nashville, they can help you. Trust me, friends, your dog is worth it. Now, I call these folks the dog whisperers. They've helped thousands of dogs and their owners over the last 25 years solve behavioral issues, and they can help you as well. Aggression, potty problems, anxiety, or basic obedience, they can help you help your precious pup with just about anything. Now, what I love about Ridgeside K9 Nashville, as they help your dog with their behavior problems, is they do believe that owner education is just as important as dog training. And long-term success with your dog begins with you. At Ridgeside K9 Nashville, they've got a lifetime support guarantee. They are there for you 24/7. So check them out online. It is Ridgeside K9 Nashville, rsk9nash.com. The letter K, the number 9, rsk9nash.com. Call Jeff today at 615-878-0380. Again, your dog is worth it. 615-878-0380. As always, tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Ridgeside K9 Nashville. Veteran-owned, proven results, and guaranteed for life.
Okay, so we have an accident in Metro Center this morning. It's on Rosa Parks Boulevard at Great Circle Road. That one involves injuries. Been there for a couple of minutes. We just have normal volume delays on most of the roads this morning, including on 24 westbound. 40 looks pretty good so far this morning. And if you're checking out 65 heading in, things look good. I see no big delays heading in from the Franklin or Brentwood areas. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.737 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here at Nashville's Morning News for a Friday. We've been talking about how Mayor Freddie O'Connell, I've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, where the mayor in his budget has allocated some $1.5 million in grants to a couple of pro-illegal immigrant nonprofits. For 2027, Michael Patrick Leahy has been on the case as well over the Tennessee Star, and MPL joins us here on Super Talk 99.7. So you folks at the Tennessee Star, you've been trying to figure out, okay, so what is the justification for the $1.5 million in these grants going to these pro-illegal alien nonprofits? What have you found so far?
Nothing yet from Metro Nashville government, because they say they don't know if there are any documents that describe how that money will be spent. We filed a public records request with them a couple weeks ago. They didn't respond immediately. They said, we'll respond to you shortly. Then, of course, as you know, Metro Council last week voted in favor of a $3.8 billion budget that includes $1.5 billion this fiscal year for two illegal alien-friendly organizations, nonprofits, Tennessee Immigration Refugee Rights Coalition, TIRT, and then this one's a mouthful, Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors. Now, there had been...
Michael, as long as those neighbors are illegal aliens.
Yes. We need to change the name of that organization, Dan. Mm-hmm. So there had been a Biden administration grant to the city of Nashville, Metro Nashville, for over about $3.8 million back in 22 that was used to fund those groups via the city of government, Metro government. And they included illegal alien legal services. In other words, legal services to keep for illegal aliens who entered the country illegally to keep them here in the States. Now, that money is gone now. And according to Tennessee statute, Tennessee law, Metro clerk is supposed to keep any grant applications. Well, guess what? Metro clerk says, we don't know if we have any such grant applications. Talk to the mayor. So here's the thing. This money has been approved for this new fiscal year. The only documentation for how it's going to be used is simply a line item. Turk gets $735,000. Tennessee Justice for Our Neighbors gets $718,000. No one, including the Metro Council members who voted for it, really know what it's going to be used for.
Well, and the thing is, Michael, these are organizations that support Freddie O'Connell and his want, I believe, to make Nashville a sanctuary city, if you will, and battle against ICE's every move.
Yes, not only that, this Turk group that's getting an extra $735,000 in this year's budget that goes into effect July 1st, they have a 501c4, a PAC that gave, wait for it, $34,000 to the election of one, wait for it, Freddie O'Connell.
Wow. Well, that's a problem. I mean, that's clearly a conflict of interest, and it sounds bordering on corruption.
Bordering on. That's a good use of the word.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to call the mayor corrupt, but that sounds pretty crooked.
So here's the thing about it. When you file a public records request, Dan, the city government has a certain amount of time to tell you when they're going to respond. So they told us several days into it that, well, you'll get all your documents by the 18th, but we're sending it to 4 places in city government: the Metro Council, the Finance Department, the Law Department, and the Mayor's Office. And all 4 of those groups are going to respond to you separately. The first thing that we got yesterday from Metro Council was, well, we can't send you documents because we're not sure we have any documents, but we'll let you know for sure by July 1st. Really?
By July 1st?
Yeah. We're going to keep looking to see if and we ask not just for any grant, but any budget item. What's that $1.5 million going to be used for? Is it going to be used for legal services for illegal aliens? Now, the Metro clerk said, because it was done that way for the previous 4 years when the money was paid for by the federal government. I said, sure, yeah, we've seen that document. Yeah, it was used for legal service for illegals. But the mayor's office says, no, it's not going to be used for legal services for illegals. What's it going to be used for? Well, not that.
So here's my question. Is the Metro Council, is it the usual way that they do business to pass billion-dollar budgets without having the backup documentation on what millions of dollars are going to be used for? Is that how they do business in Nashville?
Dan, that question is why they pay you the big bucks, because that's the question everyone wants to know. Are they just rubber stamping a budget? And if there's no documentation for this $1.5 million to 2 separate illegal alien-friendly nonprofits, what else is in that budget that is basically, being given away as financial support for political allies of Mayor Freddie O'Connell? That's the big question.
Well, and the thing, so you'd mentioned that what was it, 501c4? Is that what you said? That
right.
that donated $34,000 to Freddie O'Connell's campaign in 2022. And look, I'm not an expert in these things, so I may be asking a dumb question, but I mean, is that investigation worthy? Should somebody be looking into that? Because it sounds to me like that is a conflict of interest.
Yeah, it is. It is. These sort of things happen all the time. When you get into election law, there are all sorts of exceptions and twists and turns, and they're very much in the weeds. So I don't know of any election authority in the state that's looked into that, but certainly it's worth looking into.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question that I would ask. By the way, so these are grants, and so the question I would have is, so these are grants, but are they taxpayer dollars? Where did this money come from?
There's no federal grant money now. The first 4 years when the city used these funds for these illegal alien-friendly nonprofits, the money was basically a pass-through from the feds to these nonprofits. But now this money comes directly from Metro Nashville taxpayers, like the American citizen restaurant owners who've seen their property taxes double, triple in the past year under the Freddie O'Connell administration. You could even say, Dan, that this is a transfer of wealth from American citizen business owners in Metro Nashville to illegal aliens. You could say something like that.
Well, you could, and I think that we just did. I mean, the problems that Nashville has, particularly with these long-term businesses and the pressures that they are facing. I mean, it's almost like every week we find yet another long-term business or restaurant that is going out of business because of the onerous, property tax issues here in the city of Nashville. Some people, MPL would say, well, it's a $3.8 billion budget. This is only $1.5 million. It's a drop in the bucket. But my point would be, yeah, but it's the principle of the matter.
Well, it may be a drop in the bucket for a $3.8 billion budget, but for those nonprofits that are getting these funds, apparently able to use it however they want, it's a real boon for them. Also, Dan, think about this. How many drops in this bucket end up being, a gallon or 2 gallons or 3 gallons? That's really the broader picture here, I think.
Well, yeah, and it shows the priorities of Freddie O'Connell and the Metro City Council. Number one, clearly they are pro-illegal alien. 2, they are pro-passing budgets without the necessary paperwork and justification for those for that money going to these so-called nonprofits. Michael Patrick Leahy, is there anything else on this story that we may have missed?
Well, Dan, we are doing weekly, every week, we're filing a public records request with part of Metro Nashville government, part of Metro Nashville public schools. And so far, we have lots more stories coming, but so far we have received nothing from any of those entities in response to our request. Now, they've got a little bit of time, but Dan, I think that they're trying to hide documents from us. And this will probably end up in further litigation so we can find out what's really going on and so the public can know about it.
Michael Patrick Leahy, Tennessee Star, will you keep us updated on any further developments?
You bet, Dan.
All right, we'll talk to you later. Michael Patrick Leahy, Tennessee Star, 747. Late for traffic coming up after the traffic report. Joan, have you heard the soliloquy, if you will, of one Justice Clarence Thomas?
Oh, I did.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yes.
I'm going to play that after the traffic report right here on Super Talk 99.7. As far as your weather goes, it is going to be incredibly hot the next several days, and particularly next week. Today, mostly cloudy, chance of showers and thunderstorms, high near 90. Saturday, mixed clouds, some sun as well, high of 84. Joan, do I have Saturday right? Is Saturday going to be a high of 84?
Yes.
Okay, and then
allegedly, reportedly.
And then on Sunday, storms possible and a high of 94. Do you know, Joan, that there have been times when I've said, why do I even bother with the weather? Because it changes.
Because it's all wrong.
I hate that. It's like always wrong.
Yeah. Let's see.
The weather can change in an instant.
So, that's a different area. Let me just check.
And then next week, it's going to be really, really, really hot with feels like temperature up towards 105 degrees.
Yeah, so they're saying, I think you said this, right? Some thunderstorms could be likely in the morning on Saturday and then scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, high of 84.
All right, good for the plants, bad for the trip to the park.
Right.
Justice Clarence Thomas, he said this yesterday, talking about the debate with illegal immigration and the 2 victories that Donald Trump had yesterday in the Supreme Court regarding immigration, mass deportation, and so forth. We had a great interview with Hans von Spakovsky earlier in the program. Find it on the YouTube page or on the podcast page for 99.7. But this little soliloquy, if you will, from Justice Thomas is just incredible. And it does talk about really the government's responsibility to protecting our borders and the American people. Justice Clarence Thomas.
Give me liberty or give me death. That devotion has driven the great achievements and heroism of Americans in the 250 years since. Think of the frontiersmen who settled the West. Think of the families who built their little towns on the prairies. Think of the women who raised their children to love God and country and sent them off to fight wars. It is the devotion expressed in the final sentence of the Declaration, the willingness to do anything for our principles that has throughout American history been most indispensable. It is that devotion that we are missing today, and that we must find in our hearts if this nation is to endure.
Supreme Court. Yeah, that is Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. And when he talks about how the government is supposed to do anything to protect America, to protect its borders and protect its people, clearly that notion of protecting America and those that live in it is completely gone on one side of the aisle, the Democrat Party, because even the moderate Democrats are all for open borders. Even the moderate Democrats, by and large, with one exception, John Fetterman, they are against mass deportation. They're even against getting rid of people in this country who have broken other laws outside of our immigration laws. We can talk about, the people that are in this country, assault and battery, the people that have done, really bad things to children. By and large, the Democrat Party, including a lot of these people that are protesting against these ICE facilities that are housing these monsters. So, yeah, I love what Justice Clarence Thomas had to say there. Really, really good. And I'm always looking forward to hearing more from the conservative Supreme Court justices. It is 7:52 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news coming up at 8. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here at 8 o'clock, a former Nashville teacher arrested. We'll tell you what she's been charged with at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Every afternoon or every morning, whenever it is that I'm driving home, I always take the same route as most of us do. And I don't know if you've noticed what I've noticed, but the same homes have been on the market for months at a time. I've noticed that on my way home. And so if that's you, if that's your friends, your family, your neighbors, whatever, if they've been stuck trying to sell a home for a long time, trying to get to the next phase in your life, but you can't because you can't sell your home, you've got to call my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate. The real estate market has most certainly shifted here in Middle Tennessee. Homes are staying on the market longer. Mark Spain and their guaranteed offer, they can sell your home fast. You are going to save time, make the most money, eliminate all of the hassle and all of the waiting. Mark Spain Real Estate. Now, they sell a lot of homes. They've been helping homeowners sell their homes for 30 years. They've got over 72,000 satisfied clients. That's right, 72,000 satisfied clients. They are the number one most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 13,000 five-star reviews. You can trust my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. 855-299-SOLD is the phone number. 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing. Whether we're talking about waterproofing, concrete leveling, or foundation repair, my friends at USS United Structural Systems, they are the absolute best here in the state of Tennessee. Now, you know that these types of issues, they do not get better over time. They get worse without the proper fix. You know that, they know that, and they are here to help. Now, they've helped me over the years with my foundation. I can tell you from my personal experience, they treated me right. Communication was outstanding. The work was excellent, and and customer service was top notch. That is why I love United Structural Systems. They've been helping Middle Tennesseans for a long time because they do it right and they will treat you right. If you don't have the money right now for these fixes, they can help you with some special financing. You can get a 10% discount when you pay in full, or fix it now, pay later with 18 months, no payments and no interest. Or you can choose 36 months, no interest, with low payment options for qualified homeowners. So they are here to help you. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Find them online anytime. It is USSTN.com. $7:58. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, you were just telling me off the air about a situation involving a guy who I believe is an American hero, certainly a conservative hero, and that is Scott Presler, a guy whose entire life is devoted to getting out the conservative vote. And apparently he got kicked out of a John Thune event?
Yeah, so he had gone to this John Thune event last night because he wanted to ask him, what's the deal with the Save America Act and why is it that you just will not allow the Save America Act to come to the floor? And when he showed up, he was not able to get in the door. And Scott Presler managed to get a picture of a table at the event, and on the table was a piece of paper with his picture on it. Wow. So people who were running the John Thune event actually took Scott Presler's picture from social media and said, "Don't let this guy in."
I cannot tell you how much that angers me.
Yeah.
If there's you know what that is? Because this guy, Scott, in case you don't know, Scott Presler is a guy who a lot of people will credit him with Donald Trump's victories in some of these battleground states.
Oh, yeah.
His whole thing is getting conservatives registered to vote and getting out the vote. He should not be treated like a common political criminal within the conservative movement because he's asking a question that a lot of people are asking, which is, John Thune, why can't you get the Save America Act to the Senate floor? And he'll say he doesn't have the votes, and so he doesn't want to bring it to the floor. That would be an embarrassing defeat. He will also say we can't eliminate the filibuster because of the same reason. They just don't have the votes. But it's what John Thune says. But to not allow Scott Presler to simply ask the question and to keep him out of a conservative event, that is absolutely immoral and wrong.
So here's what happened too. The South Dakota GOP sergeant at arms is actually in a video, and I can't play it because he's cursing in it, but he pops into Scott Pressler's video while he's recording it, and he says, well, guess what? I'm the a-hole who's not going to let you in because you're posting this on Facebook, so you might as well just get out of here. Well, the update this morning is that the South Dakota GOP sergeant at arms has been fired for denying Scott Pressler into the event with John Thune. The party chairman has now apologized to Pressler. Here's the quote. I want to personally apologize for how things were handled tonight at the convention. Matt Bruner has been relieved of his duties as one of our sergeant at arms by the lead sergeant at arms. So now they're apologizing for doing what they did last night.
Well, who's going to fire John Thune? Because I'm assuming, is he the one? I wonder if he's the one that ordered it.
Yes.
Did John Thune?
Good question.
Was he the one that ordered Scott Pressler not to be allowed into that event? That is terrible.
Yep.
All right. It's 8 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A former Nashville teacher arrested nearly a year after admitting that she had a sexual relationship with a student. 32-year-old Khadijah Kuykendall was a 10th grade teacher at Whites Creek High School until last August when she told a fellow teacher about the relationship.
There was nearly a year-long investigation. She's now facing several charges, including statutory rape. She's being held on a $150,000 bond.
Marius Payton there at Channel 4. So hot today that NES says it will temporarily stop making disconnections due to non-payment, at least for now, when the heat index is over 102 degrees. Also, Middle Tennessee Electric says disconnections will stop until sometime next week. As Europe grapples with a sweltering heat wave, officials in Paris have decided to impose an evening alcohol ban. No sales there. And public consumption is also banned as well, so no sipping French champagne on the veranda. Temps have exceeded 95 degrees for several days in a row, and brawls have broken out in several stores selling air conditioning units. A judge siding with an independent journalist who's seeking withheld portions of the Epstein files.
A federal judge is ordering the Justice Department to turn over unredacted versions of some of the Epstein files. Judge Emmett Sullivan ruling that the Trump administration may have violated a transparency law by withholding parts of the documents. The judge gave the Justice Department until July 2nd to release some records with fewer redactions, including information about certain emails and names connected to a draft indictment. The department must also provide a log explaining why other information remains hidden. Dave Packer, ABC News.
So is it the Department of Defense or the Department of War? Well, the House Appropriations Committee has just advanced a $1.1 trillion defense spending bill, and it includes a provision to rename it the Department of War. The House and Senate Armed Services Committees also included language in their defense authorization bills to rebrand the building that's held the same title for nearly 80 years. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. So pre-market trading here, and everything is in the red. We've got Dow futures down 113, NASDAQ futures minus just about 400 points. The S&P futures are down 38. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Hey, we've got a crash on eastbound 24. This is in Clarksville. It's past Rossview Road. It's pretty slow this morning around that area, but the other major roadways are looking fairly good this morning. I don't see any major delays. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807 Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super text line is open 615-737-9986. 615-737 WWTN. I've got audio only, and I had some commentary that I did in the 5 o'clock hour that actually got quite a bit of reaction. I want to talk a little bit about that reaction and sort of retrace what I discussed, and that was this headline from the Daily Mail: Tucker Carlson blasting MAGA movement with foul-mouthed insult to Donald Trump over threats to Iran. And so this is from the Daily Mail. Couldn't find the audio, but Tucker Carlson had an expletive-filled kiss-off to Donald Trump as he continues to burn bridges within the White House over the Iran war. The former Fox News anchor has been one of the most public critics from the right of Donald Trump's foreign policy, coming to a head with the strikes on Tehran. They go on. Carlson, appearing on the Jack Neal podcast, accused Trump of feigning strength by using empty threats against Iran as the war continued on. He tried to posture his way out of it, Carlson said of the president, after the initial killing of the Ayatollah Khomeini did not force Iran's surrender. And after, these are quotes, and after, like the 400th Truth Social, they reached the same conclusion that everyone else on the globe reached, which is this guy's not strong, he is weak. The words of Tucker Carlson. Strong people, he says, don't brag about how strong they are. They just punch you in the face and end the conversation. So there's a lot there, but, you know, there is some truth to what Tucker Carlson is saying, but with some nuance and caveats. I don't believe that Donald Trump is weak for a moment. You know, the situation that Donald Trump finds himself in is that he is an incredibly strong individual, and he is somebody who has proven that strength time and time and time again. The problem that he faces is that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the people that are in charge of Iran, they don't think like we do. They value death. They don't mind blood in the streets, and they're not trying to make sure that their country is okay from an economic standpoint. They only value death. They only value their ability to kill other people and be able to chant death to America in the streets. Now, there is some truth in the sense that one of the problems that the president has had is so many Truth Social posts and too many proclamations that the war is over, and then Iran comes back and says, nope. So, and I've talked about this for a long time. So I believe that did damage Donald Trump's credibility with a lot of people, including foreign powers, including supporters of the president, including yours truly. Now, the president is valuing diplomacy over dropping more bombs, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is that the only thing that is going to work with Iran is the bombs. That's the only thing that's going to work. And even then, I don't know if that's going to work. Going back with the Daily Mail article, he then, Tucker Carlson, comparing Donald Trump to a boxer who was all talk and taunting, but you don't have to worry about when they make those threats before sending Donald Trump a blunt message. This is a quote from Tucker to Donald Trump. "Shut up, B," rhymes with which, "I don't take you seriously. I'm not being mean, but like, come on," Tucker said of Donald Trump. Now, this comment doesn't surprise me. And yeah, I think that, Trump is going to be okay. I don't think he spends his days worrying about what Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or some of these other people have to say. The president has opened himself up to this criticism where he didn't see what was happening, that Iran was playing him. And I do believe that Iran has been playing Donald Trump. Perhaps Donald Trump will get the last laugh. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Tucker also says, "I grieve for what Donald Trump's decisions in the Middle East have done to our country." Yeah, the war in Iran has had negative impacts on our country. Higher gas prices, 13 members of our military killed. We spent a lot of money on the military, and we need even more. And it has indeed ripped the Republican Party apart. But again, at the end of the day, this could be a good thing, or it could be a train wreck. I've talked about this a lot, where things look really good one day, the next day, things don't look as good. We may not know how well this has worked a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. Donald Trump could be dead and gone by the time we find out if this whole thing has been a success or failure. The ultimate question is going to be, what is Iran going to do with those lifted sanctions and unfrozen assets? Will they get themselves some nuclear weapons and fund terror, or will they meet their full potential? I think it's going to be the first one. I think that they're going to continue to pursue nuclear weapons, and they are going to fund terror as well. Unfortunately, that's what I think the Iranians are going to do. But here's the point. The point is, and, Tucker's going to say what he's going to say. Donald Trump's going to say what he's going to say. We're all going to debate this. But then Ted Cruz, a guy who I really like, puts Tucker Carlson on full blast, calling him the most dangerous demagogue in America. Listen to this.
Look, the left, a decade ago, anti-Semitism began to rise, and the Democrat leaders basically looked the other way and just hoped it would go away. And it didn't. It's consumed their party. There is a very real pro-Hamas contingent of the Democrat Party.
So that's how he sets it up. And it is true. It is very true that you do have anti-Semitism on the left. You've got the communism, you've got the socialism, you've even got the racism against white people. All the isms in the Democrat Party, they have been there for a long time. The tenets of socialism have been within the Democrat Party for a long time. It's only gotten more extreme here in the last couple of years. But then Ted Cruz, in my opinion, has a jump the shark moment. That is coming up, 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, it is going to be hot today, mostly cloudy, some sun, a chance of showers, and a high near 90. Saturday, mixed clouds and sun, a high of around 84. Sunday, though, is when the heat really starts up. Storms possible, high of 94. Heading into next week, we actually have a feels-like temperature in the triple digits. On Sunday, it's going to be 94, but then Monday and beyond. You told me, Sam, on Wednesday, the feels-like is going to be, did you say 105?
106.
106 degrees as a feels-like on Wednesday. So it's going to be a very hot week next week. It is 8:15 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, talking about Ted Cruz and how I believe, as a fan of Ted Cruz and not so much a fan of Tucker Carlson, but I think that his criticism of Tucker is a bit unfair. And so I find myself now in the unenviable position of defending somebody that I don't necessarily think a whole lot of and criticizing somebody that I do think a lot of, and that would be Ted Cruz. But this is what he said, Ted Cruz, about Tucker Carlson.
Here's the scary thing. I've seen more anti-Semitism on the right in the last 18 months than any time in my life. And it is spreading like a cancer. Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America.
Come on, dude. Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America. Ted Cruz is wrong, and I don't know by what line of thinking he would say that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that and I said this in the 5, I'm not above some mudslinging and some rhetoric, but to say that Tucker is the most dangerous demagogue in America, I think that's insane. I would say that it is Nick Fuentes, but whatever. Maybe Ted Cruz means this. Maybe he means that Tucker is maybe reaching those the Nick Fuentes can't, which would be middle-aged and older Americans. Maybe that's what Tucker, according to Ted Cruz, is doing. I don't know. But to say that Tucker is the most dangerous is silly. I don't even think he's the most dangerous on the right. I believe, again, that's Nick Fuentes. But I might even argue with his characterization that Tucker is a demagogue. So I looked up the definition just to make sure that I knew what the official definition is of a demagogue: a political leader who seeks support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of ordinary people rather than using a rational argument. Now, I'm here to tell you that Ted Cruz, using the term demagogue for Tucker Carlson, I don't know if that applies to Tucker, because Tucker, he does have, in my opinion, arguments. I disagree with them, but at least they're rational about why we should not be involved in this war with Iran. He's got his opinion, and Tucker is, as wrong as I believe that he is, I also believe that he's got a right to his opinion. And I don't believe that he is a demagogue, because I believe that he uses rational points, even though I might disagree with those points. I'd have to tell Ted Cruz that Zoran Mamdani is the most dangerous demagogue, because he has, as the Democrats well know, massive political influence, and has been able to place, as we've been talking about, 3 of his fellow socialists or communists into the House of Representatives. Because remember, Ted Cruz, and maybe I'll play it again, Ted Cruz didn't say the most dangerous demagogue on the right. Ted Cruz said that Tucker was the most dangerous demagogue in America. Here's that quote again.
Here's the scary thing. I've seen more anti-Semitism on the right in the last 18 months than any time in my life. And it is spreading like a cancer. Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America.
I don't know if Tucker Carlson is anti-Semitic. We just have a political difference of opinion. And again, Tucker's opinion is one that many people share, that we got into this war, we are now mired in this war for the sake of Israel, that Israel is leading us by the nose. I do not agree with that, but I will admit to being frustrated at times with how this whole thing has been going. But that's like all conflicts. That is all wars. You have good days and you have bad days. And so I think that a number of things can be true. It's a nuanced conversation with multiple layers and a lot of what ifs. You can have concerns about the direction of America, and you can still love America. You can still appreciate the tenets of conservatism and still recognize the dangers of the Democrats. And not only their rampant anti-Semitism, but also their rampant anti-Americanism. You can have problems with the war that we are currently engaged in Iran, and still love America. Do I believe that Mamdani loves America? Do I think that the 3 future House of Representatives, these socialists / communists, do I believe that they love America? No, I don't. Do I believe that Tucker Carlson loves America? Yeah, I think that Tucker loves America. We have a political difference, but we can't get into the game that the Democrats play. The Democrats say that if you are pro-strong border, the Democrats say that if you are anti-open border, and that if you are pro-mass deportation, that you are racist. And that's wrong. We love America, and we want Americans to be safe, and we favor legal immigration. You can be anti-Iran war and should not be called anti-Semitic. That is a game that the Democrats play, and I feel like that is the game that Ted Cruz is playing. And others, by the way, are playing as well. That if you are anti-Iran war, or if you are, what's the right way to say this? If you have concerns that you are anti-Israel, or again, anti-Semitic, that's wrong. Part of the dynamic, this is one issue, it's a massive issue, but for Tucker and anyone to say, well, I'm going to stay home in the midterms, which we talked about earlier, I'm going to stay home in the midterms in 2028, well, then those people also are wrong, because if you do, then you're really going to have the socialists, you're really going to have the communists in charge after the midterm elections and after 2028. And then you're going to be out there complaining about the Democrats packing the Supreme Court, delegitimizing our elections, of course, which is what they want to do, and set up a system where the Democrats have power forever. So I think that Ted Cruz is wrong. We on the right can, I thought anyway, we on the right can have differences of opinion without throwing mud and calling people anti-Semitic if you simply ask questions about the Iran war. And again, by the way, there is a lot of questions about the direction of this war just this morning. As people on the right, a lot of folks on the right will celebrate the memorandum of understanding. And I get that. However, in the news this morning is Iran bombing a Singapore, a ship from Singapore, going through the Strait of Hormuz and apparently not taking the designated path that they were supposed to take. So Iran sent a drone and hit the side of the ship. No casualties, it just damaged the ship. But a big middle finger, in my opinion, to Donald Trump and the Memorandum of Understanding. We are not going to know if this whole thing is going to work in our favor for probably several years to come. It just depends on what Iran does with the unfrozen assets and the lifted sanctions. Am I frustrated with this war? Absolutely. Have I lost faith in Donald Trump? Absolutely not. We just have to see where this whole thing goes. Do I believe that Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America? No. Ted Cruz, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. It is 8:24. Joan's got the news at 8:30. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, all eyes on a court in Maryland this morning as we await the arrival of former National Security Advisor John Bolton. We'll tell you what is happening at that court today at 8:30 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling wants to save you money on AC service and a vacation. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they do want to send you to the beach right now. You buy any new home AC unit, you're entered to win a free 3-day beach getaway courtesy of Busy Bee. They're going to pay for your gas, your lodging, and a couple of meals a day. Check out all the details at busybeehvac.com. They are also saving you money with 10% off their deluxe air duct cleaning package or 5% off the middle tier. So you're saving money and cleaning the air inside your home. Now, don't forget, you can also become a Beehive member like I am. I've been a Beehive member for years. So what that does, you keep your HVAC unit maintained. That ensures that your HVAC is going to run great for the long term. By the way, one more great deal. Save money on plumbing as well from Busy Bee. Take $100 off any service over $500 or 10% off water filtration systems. They've always got great ways to save you money. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com. $8:26 on Super Talk. I don't know, Joan, if you're watching this, But some breaking news, a small plane has crashed into the tallest building in Beijing, in China. Have you seen this?
I have not seen it.
CNN just broke in. A small plane has crashed into the tallest building in Beijing.
Uh-oh.
So, don't know if that was intentional or otherwise, but we'll continue to follow.
I bet you they wish they had better bay wings.
So bad. So bad.
Sam, you need to suck less. Sam, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
You're just disappointed.
Because you know what? I'm the one that's supposed to have the stupid jokes here, not you. But anyway, thank you for taking the pressure off me. All right, 827, Dan Mandis here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Credit card interest rates are now over 29%. Most people are only making the minimum payments, so they're getting nowhere. Dan Mandis here. You know, here's what many homeowners simply do not realize. Using the equity in your home, you can easily access hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can pay off your credit cards, your existing HELOC, your car loans, or get money for that home improvement project. Now, one client just got $100,000 approved and saved over $1,500 every single month. And here's the best part. With Loan Pronto, you can do it all from your phone. With zero out-of-pocket expenses, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process, and no touching your first mortgage. Right now, rates are at near 3-year lows, so you've got to act right now. Go to loanpronto.com and see how much money you can get in about 60 seconds. Loanpronto.com. 2,800 5-star Google reviews cannot be wrong. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-499-5780, 615-499-5780. Find them online anytime, loanpronto.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Good morning. It's 8:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Testimony continued yesterday in the Blaze Taylor murder trial. The former Tennessee Titans scout on trial in the death of his pregnant girlfriend. Prosecutors say she died after consuming a spiked drink.
A forensic scientist testified that she tested several drinking glasses that were inside the apartment, along with several bottles of juice, but she didn't find any type of drug residue on the glasses or the bottles.
If someone prior to you, not with Metro PD, would have rinsed it out with warm water, soap, anything like that, are these results consistent with that?
Potentially, if the glass contained some kind of controlled substance and it was washed with water, that could remove some of that controlled substance, yes.
And during the trial Wednesday, a friend of Jade's testified that she smelled cleaning products when she went into Jade's apartment the night she was hospitalized.
Channel 4's Marius Payton there. The medical examiner will take the stand today. In a pair of 6-3 decisions, the Supreme Court yesterday allowing the Trump administration to end legal protection for Haitian and Syrian immigrants in the country on temporary protected status. It also allowed the administration to move ahead with its immigration policy that turns back migrants seeking asylum at the southern border. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller.
On humanitarian issues, the most humanitarian thing that we can do is, which is what we are doing and have done, is to end illegal immigration. That is the most humanitarian thing.
The court still has to decide President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship. That decision will potentially come down on Monday. Today is the day that former National Security Advisor John Bolton pleads guilty to mishandling classified information. He'll arrive at a federal court in Maryland sometime this morning. To do so, he's already agreed to pay a fine of $2.25 million. Checking stocks here as we check money news, brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. And the opening bell just a couple of seconds ago, and we've got the Dow Jones Industrials trending down 198 points. The NASDAQ is falling 303 right now, and the S&P 500 index is minus 56. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis. You know, if you've ever been to the Glock store, you know that it's massive, but that is nothing compared to the website glockstore.com. Now, the folks at the Glock store like to say that the brick and mortar building is more like the showroom for the website. Now, at the website, they've got over 10,000 items on sale. So the store is huge. The website is a never-ending celebration of the Second Amendment, just waiting for you at glockstore.com. That's why so many people use the shop online, pick up in store option. It's really easy, especially during the holidays. In 48 hours or less, they'll call and let you know that it's ready for pickup. And listen, unless you really need your items right away, why not make an appointment for a Shoot 270 range session at shoot270.com? Then you can pick up your order after the session. A huge selection of great products at great prices and a free pickup in-store option. That is a win-win-win in my book. Glock Store's retail showroom and the Shoot 270 indoor training facility. The Glock Store just minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Friends, if you need an appliance, DT McCall's is the place to go right now. They've got massive savings waiting for you on appliances until at least July 4th. DT McCall's, where you can save up to 41% on select GE appliances, plus huge savings and rebates on appliances by Samsung, Electrolux, and Frigidaire. Dan Mandis here, just back from vacation, and I love coming home to my house with my furniture and appliances bought at DT McCall's over the last 12 years. You know, I've been a customer of theirs for a long time because at DT McCall's, they've got great prices, selection, and customer service. If something does go south in my house, the first thing I do is I go to dtmccalls.com. The solution to your problem is just a click away. Now, DT McCall's has been here in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, 4 generations of treating people right, in store or in person. DT McCall's is your Tennessee source for all things home, garage, and backyard. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee. As always, please tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com. That's dtmccalls.com.
Got a problem in the, let's see, this is in at Bell Road and Arbor Common in Antioch. It's a crash involving injuries. Murfreesboro, Northwest Broad Street at Memorial Boulevard. There's an accident there. It involves a Rutherford County Police unit. That's a great place to avoid if you can. Nashboro Village, Smith Springs Road at Bell Road. There's a crash in that spot, too. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, yeah. Is this Snoop Doggy Dogg?
I think it's the new Drake.
Yeah? Is this really new Drake?
No.
Oh. All right. Hey, did you know that Snoop Doggy Dogg now has like ice cream and it's being sold at Costco?
Really?
Yeah.
Just
I read
saw
that this morning. Yeah,
Is it
Joan
called-
saw it.
Is it called something like Dog Tracks?
No, it's called, I don't have the story in front of me, but apparently people are flocking to Costco to buy the new Snoop Doggy Dog ice cream.
I hope it's
Snot
not
Doggy
snot.
Dog.
Not Doggy Dog. I've been doing that all day today.
Yeah.
You know what? Is there any truth to the rumor that Snoop's new ice cream, there's a hint of like marijuana flavor to it?
That would make sense. I mean, that is on brand, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm waiting for, Chris gave me like a courtesy laugh. So
Would you try that ice cream?
I would actually.
Wait,
hold
would
the
that
time out.
taste good in an ice cream? Blah.
Well, pot doesn't taste, well, I wouldn't know, but from what I understand.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Way to walk that one back mid-sentence.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if Snoop Dogg's ice cream is any good or not, but
He
apparently.
actually has 2 flavors, if you can believe it.
Yeah?
Let's see. Peanut butter and jelly time.
Ugh. Peanut butter and jelly ice cream?
Snoop's frozen dessert line.
If it's strawberry jelly, it might be okay.
By the way, it's called Dr. Bombay ice cream. That's what it's called.
Dr. Bombay.
Is that is Dr. Bombay, is that like a pot reference or is that a song?
Bombay being a rum that is popular in the rap community.
Oh, okay.
Syrupy waffle sundaes. Digging
sounds
that.
awesome.
That sounds terrific. And yeah, peanut butter jelly time. 2 new fruity flavors too. Oh, so they have a bunch.
There you go.
Long Beach fruit cart and a mango sherbet.
Sherbet?
Sherbet?
Sherbert.
There is no
Sherbert.
R.
Sherbert.
No.
Sherbert. It's sherbet.
Do you know how to spell it?
Sorbet.
SHERBET.
I thought it was
Sherbet.
SORBET.
Wait a minute. It's sherbet.
I thought it was sorbet.
It's not sorbet.
Sorbet's different.
Are you
Sorbet's
sure?
different. Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's not, guys.
I'm reading it.
This is how the show comes to a screeching halt.
Sorbet is
right off the
entirely
rails.
dairy-free, made from fruit, water, and sugar. Sherbet uses the exact same fruit base, but adds a small amount of milk or cream.
I don't know if that's factual.
And it's spelled Sherbet. Sherbet.
Is sherbet the same as sherbet?
Is that even English?
I don't even know,
honestly.
Man. I've always called it sherbet. If I've been saying it wrong
I did
all
too
this time?
when I was 5.
Oh, here we go. Joan gets real tough when she's doing the news from Jonestown. You ever notice that?
Yeah. Whatever.
Or
Anyway.
is this a slip in the void of time like Berenstain Bears?
Yeah, is this a Mandela effect?
Could be.
Did we switch timelines, Dan?
Well, you've got to explain the Mandela effect.
I thought everybody knew about the Mandela effects.
Not everybody does, which is why somebody needs to explain it.
When timelines converge, we get little discrepancies here. Like the Berenstain Bears, when I was growing up, it was always the Berenstain Bears, and now they tell us it's the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Or it was the movie with Shaq or Sinbad, Kazam?
Yep.
You don't know that one?
No.
There's a big debate online on who really was the genie in Kazam. Was it Sinbad or was it Shaq?
Well, okay, I never saw this movie, so I don't know.
Okay, here's one. Everyone references Darth Vader saying, "Luke, I am your father."
Ooh.
In reality, the line is, "No, I am your father."
Now that's true. That one I know about.
Yeah.
Okay, is this the same thing in the news world as calling Kabul? Remember what they used to say, Kabul, and now they say Kabul?
I think that one's a little
This is
further
falling
down
flat,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's Qatar Qatar.
Forrest Gump. The line remembered is, "Life is a box of chocolates." The actual line spoken in the film was, "Life was a box of chocolates."
So Forrest Gump never said life is like a box of chocolates?
Never said that. It was.
Really? Okay.
There's one with Pikachu from Pokemon. He used to have a black tip on the end of his tail, and now there's no black tip on the end of his tail.
Okay,
What
this
happened
one's
to it?
throwing
Nobody knows.
This one's throwing me for a huge loop. Many consumers of Fruit of the Loom remember a cornucopia.
Yes.
The horn-shaped basket being part of the logo.
Yeah.
The logo has always depicted fruits and leaves. Never the cornucopia. It was never ever present.
That's wrong.
Some people think that the Mandela effect is actually the psyop. That what you're really getting is the government seeing if they can convince a mass amount of people of new information, low key.
Okay, so from the home office, Joan is right about sherbet in the pronunciation. LOL.
Sherbet.
You notice how Amy always reserves her times to chime in when Joan is right. We never get a text. We never get a text from Amy that says, "Hey, Chris is right." We've never in the history of the show.
There may be a reason for that, Chris.
Well,
Maybe you're never right.
All right.
You'll notice, by the way, she never says Mandis is right either. She never says hubby's right. She never does that, and she would probably tell you because I'm never right. So, and by the way, people are saying sherbet and sherbet, or no, sorbet and sherbet. Can we stop this?
You're the one that's going down the road. Hey, did the Monopoly man have a monocle or not, Dan?
The Monopoly man did have a monocle.
Well, you're from a different timeline. He doesn't.
Nope.
Really?
I can understand getting confused with the peanut guy. They both have top hats and canes.
One of them is a peanut.
Do you have any more examples?
Risky business.
Is there a hyphen in Kit Kat?
Yes.
Nope. You're from a different timeline.
All right, give me another one. I got to get one of these right, man.
Tom Cruise is famously associated with sliding across the floor in a button-down shirt, underwear, and sunglasses in Risky Business. However, in the movie scene, what is he actually not wearing?
Well, he's not wearing pants.
Sunglasses. He's not wearing sunglasses in that
Right,
scene.
he's inside. He's inside his house.
But everyone that wears that as a costume wears the sunglasses.
Well, because when you're stoned, you wear sunglasses, from what I understand.
But you're creating an iconic scene
stoned?
from a movie.
Who talked to who?
Well, in Risky Business, he wore sunglasses a lot. Tom
because
Cruise.
he was stoned?
I don't remember the movie.
All right, Joan, you've got grandkids. Many people remember the beloved monkey, Curious George, as having a tail or no tail.
He had a tail.
He had a tail.
False. He's never had a tail.
Okay, remember the firefighting bear? The guy that said only you can prevent forest fires.
Smokey
What's his name? Full name?
Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear.
Wrong. It's just Smokey Bear. That's another Mandela effect.
Wow.
You guys, get ready. I mean, we're going to different timelines.
Can we go back to the Snoop Dogg flavors of ice cream?
Go ahead. Before your world was turned upside down?
Sticky caramel apple.
Oh my gosh. All right.
This sounds like terrible ice cream. I'm not going to lie to you. None of this is going to make me switch over from Bluebell, which is obviously the premier ice cream brand on the planet.
It is?
Yes.
What is?
Bluebell.
I do like Bluebell. A lot.
It's top. It's number 1 and 1A.
Okay. I'm not a big eater of ice cream, so...
You're more of a sorbet guy?
I'm more of a sherbet guy, but whatever.
Sherbet.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one more for you. What was Hannibal Lecter's greeting to Clarice Starling in Silence of the Lambs?
I don't even remember.
Oh.
It's kidney beans and fava, whatever.
Everyone thinks it's, hello, Clarice. He actually says good morning.
Oh.
Looney Tunes. Spell tunes.
Tunes.
Toons. I know that one.
You're wrong, Joan.
No,
you guys are
I'm
from
not.
different. You guys are from different timelines.
What? How do you spell it?
Tunes.
I got one right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
We can end it there. Let's end it right there.
Come on, that's not right.
Well, it is right. I almost said Toonz.
Is it Sex in the City or Sex and the City?
Sex.
And.
Hold on. It's Sex in the City.
See, you and Joan are from different timelines. It's Sex and the City.
So I was wrong?
Yep.
I told you we should have stopped it like one ago.
Okay, Mickey Mouse.
What about him?
What color of his overalls?
Nobody cares about that rat.
I'm with you on that, Chris, but they were black, right?
I thought they were blue.
They were red.
Okay, his classic design features only red shorts with 2 white buttons and no suspenders.
I don't know. I stopped watching Mickey Mouse after I saw that one about him and the cheese. You ever see that one?
No. Him and the cheese?
You never saw the classic one where it's how they make Swiss cheese?
Oh my gosh.
No.
You've never seen that one?
No. Well, describe it. What?
I don't know if I can describe it on the air.
It may not be safe.
Wait, it's a kid's
This was
cartoon,
like in the 40s though. This is like early Mickey.
Early
just
Mickey.
describe it. What did they do?
Well, he was using something to poke holes in the cheese.
What was
his
he?
tail, right?
It wasn't his fingers or his toes.
Was not his tail because that's on his back.
It was the instrument on the front, Dan.
Nah.
That cannot
Serious?
be right.
That's a real,
100%.
You look it up. Put it on YouTube TV.
Okay.
Mickey Mouse and the Swiss cheese.
Hold on. So I'm gonna go to. So you want to go to YouTube?
Yep.
Now, for the lawyers who may be listening later, this is historical perspective.
We're going to get. This is when Dan gets kicked off Spotify.
Mickey Mouse, Swiss cheese. I'm hitting.
You're gonna see the video on YouTube and Rumble.
So this is.
And it has the iconic whistle
Make sure
going
you
on.
pull it over to the other screen too.
No, I know. I'm just trying to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to. I don't know.
You got it up there?
I got it. Do I need to pull up the volume?
If you want to.
No, this isn't it. It says musical farmer.
Oh, that's it.
Oh my lord!
What'd I tell you? Dirty rat.
Joe, are you watching Super Talk TV?
I am.
He uses.
Yeah.
Folks, for listening on the radio, he is using
His penis. He's using his penis, Stan. Just say it. Just say it.
He's using his little mouse hood to poke the holes in the Swiss cheese. I'm never going to be able to look at Swiss cheese the same again.
I knew as a kid there was a reason I didn't like that kind of cheese.
Well, the funny thing is,
Okay,
Swiss
so-
cheese is my favorite kind of cheese. But please, Joan, can you give some perspective on this? Because Joan has to have looked this up, and maybe this is a
So
miswatch
just
or
read the
something.
caption just below it. This was made by a guy named Lobo Fett. He said, as any person can venture a guess, this isn't a real Disney production, although it's been amusing to read the comment section for the last 6 months. I must confess, I simply threw this together with a GIF I found online. It was just whatever to find the musical Farmer soundtrack, which seemed to nestle in so beautifely.
So this isn't. So this
is
isn't
a
real.
creation.
I don't
No.
believe that. I think that's a psyop from Disney itself. Who you going to trust? Big Disney?
Okay.
Okay, so that's not okay. So I can eat Swiss cheese again,
You may.
and
You're still going to think about it, though.
But you cannot eat
that's
sherbet.
that was just a Chris Hand psyop, is what that was.
I'm pretty sure that's real.
He made it in 2015, so.
It's real to me. It's real to me, damn it.
You know what is real?
What? Packed ass. So I made a mistake earlier.
Did you?
What was I trying to say?
Save act past. I'm trying to say
Save act past.
Past.
And I said, what, Sam? Packed ass. I don't know what. And the funny thing is, though, is that I actually had to stop the entire broadcast and say, did I just say what I think I said? So, yes, indeed. You know, my alarm clock, Chris, went off this morning at 3:45.
Yeah. What?
So,
It's
yeah.
still, I love that that's late for you when it's still just unreasonably early for everyone else on the
Yeah,
planet.
well, my phone was, I woke up to a dead cell phone, and it's 3:45, and I'm wandering. Does this ever happen to you folks? You're wandering around the house, and you're like, is it 3? I don't understand even what's happening right now. That was what I woke up to. And for people who know, I wake up usually at midnight, and I do show prep till 3:30. 3:30, don't care what I'm doing. I jump in, get the shower done, get dressed, and off to work I go. So I'm waking up at 3:45. I've done no show prep, and we ended up with packed ass. Thank you.
Sounds like a medical condition.
I'm sorry.
Sir, I regret to inform you, but you're suffering from a case of
packed ass.
We're going to have to unpack it.
Did you have a story about?
I don't know. I'm getting lost in the text line.
Oh, people talking.
1323 said, Chris, what does all this matter? Not a damn thing.
All right. Anyway, 2433. That is one excited rat.
It is.
9756. I strongly disagree on Chris's ice cream opinion. Sunrise Dairy, based out of Crossville, Tennessee, is the best ice cream around. Can I just
You're both wrong. It's Hudsonville, all right?
As long as we all understand that it's not Ben and Jerry's.
Or Snoop Dogg's.
Without.
Well, we don't know about Snoop Dogg's. Maybe Snoop Dogg's is good.
Nobody wants peanut butter and jelly ice cream. That's like one of the weirdest flavors.
Peanut butter ice cream is good. I don't know about the
Depends
jelly.
on the jelly type. If
You
it's
put the
grape,
jelly in there?
It has to be grape.
No,
It's the jelly that throws me off.
Strawberry. If it's strawberry jelly in there, it might work.
Grape.
All right.
Work.
I wonder if he's got a
packed ass
flavor.
I'd be willing to bet it wouldn't taste good if that was an ice cream flavor.
Why is it so salty?
Anyway.
8335. What am I listening to?
Joan and I are like, we don't even, moving right along.
La 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 la.
That's exactly right. All right, I think we're done. Joan, please tell me what's happening at 9, besides me not being here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We'll tell you why all the protesting over that data center next to the zoo may be all for naught. It's coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Chris, what do you got coming up after the news at 9?
We got Senator Bill Haggerty joining the show at about 9:35. We're going to ask him about the Save America Act. We're going to ask him how he feels about one John Thune.
All right.
And then depending on his answer, I'm going to tell him what I feel about John Thune.
Oh, I can't wait. 9:35.
Actually, it doesn't really matter what his answer is. I'm going to let him know what I think about John Thune.
You and everybody else. All right, very good. Happy weekend, everybody. And I'll talk to you Monday. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.